Every year, millions of immigrants come to America chasing a dream of opportunity, a dream of a better life, a dream of becoming something more. But what many do not realize is that the journey is filled with confusion, legal traps, and costly mistakes. And that is why this show exists. This is the Immigrant Survival Show with Dr. Ope Banwo, where we provide information to help immigrants achieve their American immigration dreams without the nightmares. Pay attention as we break it all down for those who have ears to listen. Alrighty, welcome to another exciting show with Ope Banwo Immigrant Survival Show. Actually, our episode 3. This is a new program. We're just starting as part of our kicking off our Dallas office of the BANWO Law. After 29 years in Nebraska, we finally decided to go national. And we're opening up Dallas, Houston, New York, and many other states over the next coming months. And I'm really excited about that. So the Immigrant Survival Show with Ope Banwo is going to be part of the staple. And we'll be coming at you after our first month of introduction, which is June. It will become a weekly program. But over the next 7 days, it's going to be Immigration Survival Marathon, where we come in every day to answer your questions about immigration. And then eventually the show will become a weekly program where we bring several interesting things to you. On this show, we are going to be talking about what I always call the rant of the day, which is where we're going to be talking about a specific topic. And today, we're going to be talking about how to survive the immigration season of fear. That's how I'm going to introduce the show. Then after we talk about that, I'm going to be sharing with you 7 ways you can survive this season of fear in American immigration. And when we're done with all that, I will bring you the latest updates in immigration law in America. We're going to be doing that every time we have a show, the updates, because the thing is changing so much that sometimes even we lawyers, we are hearing about the new update from our clients when they start calling us. That's how quick this thing is changing. You just wake up, they've done new thing. Before you wake up, your clients are already up and they are calling you. I just read this. I just read that. What's going on? So I'm going to be telling you about 7 new things that just happened in immigration in America just this week. I call it the Rottweiler immigration update. And then after that, I'm going to answer all your questions that you have. So please join me today as we continue to help you to unravel the American immigration experience. And if you are joining us now, please share the link of this video with your friends. And if you have any questions, please post it in the comment section. And I promise you, even if we don't get to it during the 2-hour show, I promise you we will get it and we will answer the questions for you right on the thread, or we'll pick up the question at the next edition of our Immigrant Survival Show. I promise you, it will not be a wasted 2 hours that you're going to be spending with me and my team today. And talking about my team, before we go into the rant of the day, I want to introduce my exciting team. They've been working hard to make sure this show is a reality. First, I want to appreciate Grace. Her name is Grace. Grace is one of our paralegals, and Grace has been one of my assistants on the show. Don't be surprised. After a while, she'll probably be running this show by herself. Grace, say hello to the audience. She likes to laugh about everything. I don't know why. I keep telling her, why are you always laughing? It's not funny. All right, Grace, say something.
Thank you. Thank you, my attorney, for this awesome privilege to be on air with you. Thank you so much. And for our audience, please stay put. You will regret joining us this evening, okay? So bring your questions. We are here to answer them. Thank you so much, sir, for this awesome privilege.
All right. And of course, also on the show with me is Mr. Stephen Oyeleye, another of our paralegals. These are people that do research with me. These are people that follow up with some of our clients for us. They're all here to help me serve you the best we can, not just on this show, but in our practice all over America. Stephen, say something to the audience.
Thank you, Anthony, for giving me the privilege for being here, and I'm really excited. For our viewers, I want you to stay tuned. You have a lot to learn to save yourself of any problem which immigration may cause you. Stay tuned, people.
All right, and of course, one of our senior paralegals here, Mr. Samuel Okwan, who's actually one of my go-to guys when it comes to these things. They help with research, they help making sure we do the best for our clients. Samuel, you want to say something to the audience on this our third episode?
Yes, sir. Good day, everyone. Thank you so much, sir, for the privilege. I want everybody to just stay tuned, but because this show is going to take you to the next level of the immigration. Definitely, thank you so much for everything, sir.
All righty. Welcome, everyone, once again. And one of you can please send me the link to this show either on YouTube or the one on Facebook so that I can share it to my audience. I didn't share the link before we started. And if you are watching this right now, please help us share the link of this broadcast with your audience, especially those that you know happen to be immigrants in America or those who are intending to jackpot to America. Everything we are saying here concerns you. You don't want to jackpot without any knowledge. So my team are going to be in the studio with me. You probably won't see them, but they are there. They are listening, they are hearing, and they are assisting me to make sure that we service you the best today. They're going to be getting me the link, and you can send that to me through WhatsApp so that I can share that with my own audience, since we're just going live cold now. So let's get to it, people. This is, if you're just joining us, you are joining the Immigrant Survival Show with Ope Banwo. And today, the topic I like to start with, because every show I call it the opening rant, but it's really more like commentary as well as advice on how to, on something to do with immigration in America. And today we are going to be talking about American immigrants and the rise in immigration enforcement. And I'm going to be sharing with you 7 practical steps to survive the season of fear in America, because we can't deny it. Most immigrants, including those of us who are lawyers, we are living through what I call the immigration season of fear in America, because things are changing daily so fast, so soon. Things that you think you have forgotten 10 years ago, they are raising it. Issues that you thought were dead and buried, they are unearthing it. Issues that you never think about, they're coming up. So it's a season of fear in America. And tonight, as part of my the first segment of this show, like I said, most of us love the Q&A session, and we're going to do a lot of that. If I were going to end with more than an hour of that, so whatever questions you have, be sure to put it on the comment section. We are going to answer it all. But I also believe not just the season, not just the Q&A is important, but also to use every show to at least educate a little bit on one aspect of immigration in America, and then we'll give you the updates. So we're going to go into what I call the educative part before we even go into the latest updates of the show. I call it the American immigrants and the season and the rise in immigration enforcement, how to survive the season of fear. See, because tonight, before we answer your immigration questions, and like I said, we're going to answer a lot of them. Before I tell you the current immigration updates of the week, and I'm going to tell you about 7 new things that just developed over this last week or so in immigration. But before then, I'm going to start with a simple question. Have you noticed that many immigrants in America seem more nervous today than they were just a few years ago? I know I'm not nervous, and I'm an American citizen. Some are afraid to travel because now some get arrested at the airports. I'm talking within America. Some are afraid to answer their doors because now we are hearing what never used to happen in America, where immigration can just come and knock on your door to start asking for your papers. Some are afraid to update their addresses because they think that by updating their addresses, they are introducing themselves or they are telling immigration where to find them. Some are afraid to attend immigration appointments, even those who are legitimately here or who have legitimately filed papers. Many are afraid to actually go for interviews because they've had stories, especially on social media, many of them true, many untrue, where people go for interviews and they never come back. And some are afraid that every time their phone rings from an unknown number, their heart starts to palpitate. Now, whether those fears are justified or exaggerated is not even the point I'm making tonight. The point is this: fear is real. Oh, yeah. And right now, many immigrants are feeling it. Now, before anybody accuses me of being anti-government, let me be very clear. I'm not. And this is where I'm different from many immigration lawyers. I'm not going to come here and bash the American government. Why? Because every country has the right to enforce its immigration laws. That's where I stand. America has that right. Nigeria has that right. After all, Nigeria once told every Ghanaian in our country to leave within 72 hours with only 2 bags. Canada has that right. Every sovereign nation has that right. UK has that right. After all, there was a time they also said they don't want to be part of Europe anymore because too many immigrants in their country. So every sovereign nation has the right to control their immigration. So this conversation is not about attacking Donald Trump or immigration enforcement. I'm not going to do that. It doesn't help me. It doesn't help you for me to come here and be attacking the government. It is about helping immigrants survive immigration enforcement intelligently. Once you recognize that America has a right to decide how they want to do immigration in their country, your job is about finding help to survive immigration enforcement intelligently. And that's my job. Because there's a huge difference between enforcement and panic. And unfortunately, many immigrants are making life-changing decisions based on panic. They are listening to rumors. They are listening to WhatsApp broadcasts. They are listening to Facebook immigration professors. They are listening to somebody's cousin's friend's uncle who supposedly knows somebody who works for immigration. I laugh when I see what goes on in WhatsApp groups. But as the immigration Rottweiler that many of you have nicknamed me, let me tell you something. Panic is one of the most dangerous immigration strategies that you can adopt in America today. Oh yeah, it's one of the most dangerous strategies because fear makes people disappear. Fear makes people miss immigration hearings. Fear makes people ignore important notices from immigration that may end up barring them from their American dreams forever when they could have done something about it. Fear makes people sign documents they don't understand. Fear makes people trust scammers who are not immigration lawyers, who don't know anything about immigration, but they are playing on the fear of people to collect money from them. Fear makes people destroy perfectly winnable cases because fear does not allow you to think. In my years of immigration practice, I have discovered something very interesting. The immigrants who survive difficult seasons are usually not the smartest. They're not always the richest. They're not always the most educated. They are simply, wait for this, the most prepared. Because preparation beats panic every single time. Preparation beats panic all the time. And that is why tonight's conversation is important. Because regardless of your immigration status, regardless of your political views, it don't matter to me. I know that many immigrants are Democrats or Republicans or whatever they call themselves, and we all have our opinion about this government. But regardless of your political views, regardless of whether you support stricter enforcement of immigration or you oppose it, and there are people on both sides, even immigrants, but every important immigrant should have a survival plan. That's what I'm about. Not about your opinion, but that every immigrant should have a survival plan. not a fear plan, a survival plan. So tonight, I'm going to be sharing with you 7 practical steps every immigrant should consider during this season of increased immigration enforcement. The current government has decided they want to be enforcing immigration, and that's okay. What your own job is to go figure out how are you going to survive that season. It's not about engaging in unhelpful debates about cussing out the president or cussing out the government. That is not going to help you. What will help you is about having a plan, a survival plan. And I'm going to be sharing 7 of them with you. 7 practical steps every immigrant should consider during this season of fear. These are not political talking points. I don't do that on this show. Everybody knows I'm very politically aware and I'm very opinionated. But on the Immigrant Survival Show, my number 1 responsibility is to help as many immigrants in America survive and realize the American dream without the nightmare. And I cannot do that effectively if I come here and all I do is attack the government. So these are not social media rumors. They are not political talking points. These are practical survival strategies, regardless of what you think about what is going on. Because on this show, on this Immigrant Survival Show, we do not merely discuss immigration. We discuss immigrant survival. My name is Ope Banwo. I'm an attorney. I'm an immigration advocate. I'm the man many people call the immigration Rottweiler. And when I come back, I will walk you through the 7 practical steps to survive the season of fear in America. And you want to trust me on this. You do not want to miss those 7 practical steps. And I'm going to be back in a minute as I introduce you to the Rottweiler. My name is Ope Banwo, and they call me the immigration Rottweiler. Not because I bark, not because I make noise, but because I don't let go. When your case gets tough, when the system pushes back, when others start telling you there is nothing we can do, that's when you call me. Because once I lock into your case, I don't stop, I don't quit, and I don't back down until we get results. So go book a consultation on speakwithope.com now, and let's activate the Rottweiler mode on your case before the immigration knocks on your door. All righty. Hopefully you are enjoying the show so far. If you are just joining us, please help me share this link with your friends. Help me share this link with those who are sending you dollars from abroad, those that you know are in America who need to hear this. And of course, those who want to jackpot to the US, it is very important for you to be able to jackpot with success. So now, after the introduction, I said I'm going to talk about 7 practical steps for you to survive the season of fear in America. So let's get to it. See, let's be honest. We know a lot of immigrants are nervous right now. You can feel it. You can hear it in conversations. You see it on social media. You see it in every WhatsApp message that ICE is coming. Every Facebook immigration expert has a new prophecy. Everybody knows someone who knows someone whose cousin knows somebody who got arrested somewhere. And before long, people start panicking. But listen to me carefully. I'm not here to tell you fear is imaginary. Some of it is very real. Immigration enforcement has definitely increased. But I'm also here to help you not to panic. Because panic has never fixed anybody's immigration problem. In fact, most immigration disasters I see started with fear and bad decisions. So tonight, I'm going to share 7 things every immigrant should be doing right now. Right now. And 7 of them, you want to pay attention, you want to make notes. This is the note part of the show. You want to know, you want to take notes about what you should be doing, because at the end of the day, it all comes down to what is your own solution to the problem, or how are you going to protect yourself to the problem? Number one thing you should be doing, know your immigration story better than anyone else. Yes, you will be stunned, or I'm always stunned, by how many people call an immigration lawyer and cannot explain their own case. People have called me and they can't even explain their own immigration situation. They will tell you something like, Dr. Banwo, my lawyer filed something, but I don't know. I was in Houston recently with the son of a very close friend, and I was trying to help him with his immigration problem, but he said, my lawyer filed something, but I don't know what he filed. As what exactly? I don't know. When did he file it? I don't remember. It's about 3 or 4 years ago when I was still in college. What status are you on right now? And he tells me, I'm not sure. And I was stunned because he's a very intelligent young man. He went to an Ivy League school to do his master, so it's not dumb. But it's typical. A lot of immigrants don't know their own immigration story. My friend, that is not a strategy. You don't have to become a lawyer because immigration got tougher in America, but you should understand your own case. Know your status. Know your deadlines. Know your next steps, because confusion is expensive. Immigration is expensive everywhere now. You are not likely to get a good lawyer who's going to charge you less than $10,000 to represent you. Some charge $50,000, some $20,000. I'm not joking. So not even knowing your immigration story is expensive. And you can do that right now. Some people come into this country, they don't even know when their authorized stay expires because they never bothered to go and find out about their I-94. They are working on the visa that they were given. And yet, when you come into the country, your visa is no longer what determines how long you are allowed to stay. It's the I-94 that was issued to you at the point of entry. But these days, they don't even give you the I-94 in hand anymore. You have to log into a website to go and see how many days you are given. So you need to know your story. If you have been here for a while in America and somebody has filed something for you, you have filed something, you need to go understand what it is. What status do you even have? Do you even have any status at all? Don't assume. That is the number one way for you to, the number one tip I want to give you to survive the current immigration climate of fear in America. Know your story more than anybody else. Number two, stop getting legal advice from people whose qualifications are, oh, my cousin did it. I see that a lot also. And this is very important. Everybody online is now an immigration expert. Tell you, one person got approved, and suddenly he becomes professor of Homeland Security. Another person probably watched 3 TikTok videos, 1-minute videos, and now they believe they know immigration law. And my simple question is this: when things go wrong, will TikTok represent you in court? Will Facebook attend your hearing? Will WhatsApp file your appeal for you? Exactly. Get information from people who actually know what the heck they are talking about. I was with a very, very smart person just this yesterday. Amazing qualifications, a professor. And we were discussing his EB2. He said he filed EB2 and was having some problem with it. And I'm looking at this madam saying, why did you even apply for EB2? Why not EB1? Because with EB1, you could actually get your green card straight up. He said, no, I don't qualify for EB2. So he's not a professor. He's a very educated person who has a master's degree, who has occupied some amazing positions. And then the next thing the guy told me, oh, EB1 is for professors. I was told EB1 is for professors. I'm like, who told you that? Because the people keep taking advice from people who don't know nothing. The same way people in Nigeria, for instance, will pay somebody who has not gotten visa to America himself to help them get a visa. The same person who has tried to get visa 7 times and didn't get it, now is helping people to apply for visa, and you are paying him millions of naira. I told that gentleman, I said, do you know you can qualify for EB1? This is the third consultation I've had on that. Where at the end of the day, it turned out that the person actually qualified for EB1, which is the best visa you can get in America. Because that gives you green card, it gives your wife, it gives your children under 21. But many of them apply for EB2, which is the employment-based visa number 2, which is good, but it's not as good as employment-based visa 1, because that one gives you green card. EB2 is subject to national interest, it's subjective. There are many reasons why they can deny you, but EB1 is more objective. You only need to satisfy 3 out of 10 criteria. But I'm amazed about how many intelligent people believe that they don't qualify for EB1 because somebody said so in a WhatsApp group, or because some immigration quack who's not a lawyer told them, oh, that EB1 is too easy, because they call it a genius visa for extraordinary aliens. Automatically, they believe they are not qualified. Meanwhile, I have helped a young girl that doesn't even have 3 years experience, who only just had a master's degree, to qualify for EB1 less than 3 years after leaving university. So stop getting advice from people who don't understand. Talk to professionals. Yes, I know Nigerians like to save money. You want to do all this research by yourself. You want to listen to your friends, but it's going to cost you. When you could easily book an appointment with a lawyer, pay like $100 or $200. Yes, some lawyers charge $250, $300 for consultation, but that is worth it for you. I only charge you $100. Go to speakwithope.com, book an appointment with me, know the facts for real. It's the best money you can spend. So that's the second way you can survive this season of fear. Stop getting legal advice from people whose qualifications to be an immigration lawyer is that my cousin did it. Because every immigration case is different. Because your cousin qualified for something does not mean you qualified. And because your cousin didn't qualify does not mean you didn't qualify. But so to survive this season, because many people have gotten themselves in trouble because they keep listening to advice from people who don't know better. It's like with those who want to get married to American citizens, for instance. They don't have the knowledge, but they listen to other people and got their case even worse than what it was before. So tip number 3 that I think everybody will need to survive this season of fear is to keep your immigration papers together. Keep it handy. It may sound like, what is he talking about? Do you know what amazes me? Some people have lived in America for 10 years and they still store important immigration documents like they are hiding Easter eggs. One document is in the bedroom, another is in the garage, another is in an old suitcase, another one is inside the Bible somewhere. Please stop. Create one immigration file. Know where everything is, because when immigration comes for you, they don't wait for you to go and start assembling any papers. If something happens tomorrow, you shouldn't need a treasure hunt to find your documents, because some people get arrested because they had a traffic problem. Some get arrested at work. Some got arrested because they are trying to travel and then they got picked for interrogation. And from there, you're in ICE custody. But you have all these, your papers somewhere in the house that your children can get, that your family can get to, because they don't even know where they are. So to survive this American immigration season of fear, my tip number 3 for you is keep your papers safe and handy. Tip number 4, because we have a long way to go today, so I don't want to spend too much time talking about this first part. Number 4, have a family immigration emergency plan. See, in my language, in Africa, they used to say a war that is pre-declared or that is declared in advance does not catch a cripple unprepared or does not kill a cripple. That's what they say. I wanted to speak to Yoruba, but this is an international program. So I'm going to try to restrain my Mayor Fadehi instincts here. Okay? They say a pre-declared war, okay, does not kill a cripple. And that is a cripple that is wise. Meaning that once they tell you war is about to start, a cripple that knows he cannot run fast, when Wahala starts, will start moving. From the moment they say the lower might come, you start moving to another location. So same way in America today. I am not passing comments on whether the season is justified or not justified. The president that we have, Donald Trump, was very clear what he was going to do with immigrants before Americans chose to elect him. And Americans elected him. That's all for me. It's not my job to be criticizing the Americans who voted for him. My job is to help you to survive whatever season that he's bringing, that he told he's going to bring. And one of them is tip number 4, have an immigration emergency plan. It's not that you don't know that they're coming for you. If you are here illegally, it's not a surprise. They already told you. They've been telling you. And yet, you don't have an emergency plan. Then you're not a serious person. See, nobody likes talking about this. But adults plan. Children panic. Ask yourself, if something unexpectedly happens to me tomorrow as an immigrant, will my wife know what to do? Will my children know who to call? Will somebody know how to reach your lawyer? Will somebody know where your documents are? You may never need a plan, but if you ever do, you'll be ungrateful. Sorry, you'll be very grateful that you made that plan. Let me tell you a story. Several months ago, we did a little awareness for our clients. And we intimated them that we are hearing something that looks crazy, that immigration is actually going to schools to try to use children to get their illegal parents to show up. Because somebody mentioned it in a thread for lawyers that they saw this. So quickly, I made sure that we informed our clients. And guess what? Less than 2 weeks later, and we told them what to do if that happens. Now, if we are not told them, so they had that emergency plan. Then immigration went to the school. They had a child who is 7 years old, going to creche or whatever they call it. And then immigration went there and kept the kids and said that the parents should, normally when they go and pick the kids in school now, we always tell them to send relatives who have papers, because we know that immigration can go to the school. If they know the parents are illegal, they can use that to get them. They've already told you they want to get illegal immigrants out of America. You can cry, you can shout, you can abuse them all you want. They already told you what they want to do. Your job is not to engage in political discussion. You are not an American. Leave Americans alone. Let them be arguing about their president and how crazy they think he is. You are an immigrant. Your job is to survive the season of fear. It's what I tell my clients. I don't encourage them to abuse the government. I tell them, shut up. Your job, you came here. If your country was good, you won't be here. You are here. Try to figure out how to survive. Don't get involved in all of this stuff. It's as if I was prophetic. I say you get involved abusing America. What if America decides to use it against you someday? I was saying that 2-3 years back. Now immigration will go to your social media and they will use it against you. What you have said against America. Why do you want to do that? If you want to be here, then don't abuse America. If you want to be here, then don't join them in calling their president names. It's reality. Anyway, back to the story. Some parents who did not have that emergency plan, when they told them to come and get their kids, they ran to the school and they got arrested. But when they call my clients that they should come and pick their kids in school, they already have a plan, their emergency plan. When I told them when they hear that, they should call me or call the office. Don't go. I'm not saying abandon your children, but call your lawyers. So they called us. And we said, okay, we went to the school as the lawyers for the family. And we got there. Guess what? When we got there, immigration started laughing. And they gave the child to us. They're like, oh, so you're coming here for your class? Say, yeah, they can come and get their kids. We want to get their kids for them. And they release the child to us. So my clients didn't have to go and get arrested. Those who didn't have an emergency plan, they got arrested from that school. And many of them don't know where their papers are. Many of them don't know who to call. Many of them have not spoken to a lawyer before. And trust me, when you're in that jail, lawyers will take you for everything you have. They'll call crazy figures just to come and represent you. And guess what? You're going to pay. Why? Because your life is not in danger. At least, or quote and unquote, your American dream is not in danger of being eroded forever. And you are going to be ready to pay whatever anybody charges you. But if you plan in advance, if you have an emergency plan, you're not going to panic when you hear all sorts of noise. If something unexpectedly happens to you tomorrow, you need to be answering the question now. Would your wife know what to do exactly? You should document that. You should discuss it with your family. It's called an emergency plan. Will your children know who to call if immigration comes to your door at night and takes you away? Will your children know who to call? Will somebody know how to reach your lawyer? Do you even have a lawyer? Because if you're illegal right now, you don't have status, I'm encouraging you. Book a call with an immigration lawyer. It doesn't even have to be me. I'll be happy to represent you anywhere in America that you are in. I have clients everywhere, but it doesn't have to be me. Go book a consultation with a lawyer. Talk with them. Let them know what your situation is. They will have some advice for you. They may not be able to help you much, but they will have some advice for you right now. And because you have consulted with them, they are technically, quote and unquote, your lawyer now. So if you have a problem, you can go call them, and then they can then come in and represent you, and of course, they will charge their money. You can reach me anytime. Go to speakwithope.com and book your call. It's only $100. It's the best $100 money you can spend. And if you don't want to book with me, book with a lawyer locally. You need it as part of your emergency survivor, so that you know what to do when they come calling. You need to know where your documents are. Your documents that you can use to file your papers. Let's say you have a problem in your country when you are coming, all the documents supporting that, you have filed papers somewhere, something, whatever it is, documents that you might need. They need to be somewhere where your family can find it. What exactly is your plan? Who will take care of your kids? Where will your kids go? What should your children do? Those is what I call a family emergency plan. And you can work with a lawyer to help you put one together. And if you're not even using a lawyer, sit down about it, do some research, and have a plan. You may never need a plan, but if you do, you'll be grateful that you made one. A lot of people that I have to deal with, especially when you go to immigration detention, are people who never had a plan before they got arrested. They never thought that day will ever come, even though they are watching news every day, even though they are seeing people being arrested every day. For some reason, maybe they are praying. They are sure nobody is ever going to come for them, and then the unexpected happens. And now they're confused. Don't be that guy. Have a plan. If you're enjoying this, please share the link with your friends. Make your comments in the comment section. Post your questions. We are going to be coming to the Q&A session later. That's where we're going to spend a lot of time answering all the questions you have for free on this show. Okay? Now, what is plan number 5? I mean, tip number 5 that I think you should that can help you to survive this season of immigration fear in America is to take every immigration notice seriously. Now, this is super important. Take every immigration notice seriously. Some immigrants treat immigration letters the way some people treat gym memberships. They just throw it away. They know it's there, but they don't pay attention to it. Then 6 months later, they discover they missed something important. So listen to me. Listen to me. Open your mail. Read your notices. Update your addresses when you move. show up for appointments. Immigration rarely, and I use the word rarely, arrest you or deport you because you showed up for appointment. Show up for hearings. If you don't show up for hearing, the judge will deport you in absentia and you can never come back. When you show up for hearing, at least you have some hope. Even if the judge orders you deported, you can do appeal. There are 2-3 levels of appeal that you can still go through. You can go to BIA, Board of Immigration Appeals, or you can appeal to federal courts, and on and on. But if you don't show up, you lose all those rights. And anywhere they catch you, you are going to be in jail until they deport you. You don't want that. I always tell my clients, many people, when they get immigration hearing notice, their first instinct is to run and hide. And I tell them, no. We are not in the Middle Ages yet. Our notices are bad in America today. I know that some immigration officers can be overzealous, but this is still a country of laws at the end of the day. If they serve you a hearing notice and you show up, they are very courteous to you. One of my clients who got a referral notice, who got an NTA, they call it an NTA notice, or a notice to appear for deportation. Notice to appear for deportation hearing. That's how she was crying. She was so afraid. And she said maybe she should run away to Philadelphia. I'm like, no, don't run to Philadelphia. Immigration is in Philadelphia too. Okay? That if you don't show up, they're going to deport you in absentia, and you can never have any opportunity to be in America again. And I explained the immigration court process. That no, the first day, the judge will not even talk to you if you show up with a lawyer. If you don't show up with a lawyer, the judge will ask you, do you want a lawyer? If you say yes, he'll say, go, and he'll give you another time to come back. He'll tell you, go get a lawyer. They don't shout at you. They don't yell at you. They don't intimidate you. They are very nice in immigration court. There's a process. She said, no, I have to beg. I'm like, listen, if it's not so, I will not be lying to you. And then the first court date, she was stunned. The thing almost looked like an anticlimax because the judge was just talking very softly and all that. At the end of the day, when he got to her place, I said, tell them you don't have a lawyer here. Let me just sit down and be watching because you have not yet hired me. Let me see. That's in your own interest to even go there and get more time to get a lawyer. And then just say, when he got to her turn, they said, okay, you have been served papers. Did you get the papers? She said, yes. They said, okay, what do you have a lawyer to represent? She said, no. They just said, okay, how long do you need to get a lawyer? And they just gave her 6 months to come back, to go get a lawyer and come back in 6 months. And when she came out, she was visibly stunned. Is that it? I'm like, that is it. It's not complicated. It doesn't mean they won't deport you if you are subject to deportation and you don't have a defense, but there's a process. And even when the judge says he's deporting you, nobody's arresting you right there and deporting you. You're still going to go home. Then you will receive a letter if you don't file an appeal. You can appeal to BIA, you can appeal to federal court, you can appeal to court of appeal. You can do all of that. But let's say you don't even appeal, or you do all of that and you lose it. They don't rush you like that. They will sit there, then eventually they will send you a letter to report for deportation. Now, if you want to run, that's the time you can run. If you want to run, I'm never going to advise you to run, but that is when running becomes viable because there's no other way at that point. You're going home. But it takes years to get there. So take every immigration notice very seriously, because sometimes just by responding, you can avoid the sort of Damocles over your head, or at least prolong your stay in America legitimately. So don't give the government easy victories. That's what you do when you don't show up, because they get default judgment. It's called a deportation in absentia. Why make it easy for them? They want to deport you. Why must it be easy? Join issues with them. This is America. At least for most, don't listen to the isolated cases. I know people will tell, oh, there's somebody, he went to court and they arrested me. Because yeah, they can arrest somebody in court. I'm not saying that doesn't happen. But they don't arrest regular guys. Excuse me. Maybe the person has an aggravated felony criminal offense. Maybe there's an outstanding warrant. Maybe so. If you have criminal records, then that's different. It still doesn't mean Ignore them. Talk to your lawyer so that your lawyer can look at it thoroughly and be able to give you better advice. 99.9% of the time, ignoring immigration notices is a bad idea. And that is what WhatsApp and TikTok is trying to teach many of you out there. They'll say immigration notice, run, oh, you know, Nigerian people. They say run, oh, then they will tell you all the people that went there didn't come back. It's a lie. Oh. Some of them have never had any experience with immigration. But they say it with so much conviction, or maybe they know of one, but they don't tell you that person is wanted for murder. They don't tell you that person has committed drug offense before. They don't tell you all of that. Oh, but they will tell you he went to court and they arrested him in court. And I'm telling you, it's a bad idea to ignore immigration notices. That's how you survive. Don't ignore. Join issues with them. We have had a situation where a client is even been put on the bus to be taken back to Mexico, and we're able to file a federal habeas corpus, and it was granted, and they brought him out of the plane. So you show up, get your lawyer. Hopefully, I'll be able to help you, but there are plenty of great lawyers everywhere now. Whatever state you are in, look for the best immigration lawyer. Don't go get anyone that is too busy that won't have your time. So also be careful how you pick your lawyer. But pick a good immigration lawyer. You can fight some of this stuff. You might lose in round one, you might lose round two, there are like 4 rounds. At least go through those rounds first before you then decide whether you want to escape to Rhode Island. But what I see now is people advising you, and I'm telling you it's bad advice, to ignore immigration notice. Don't do that. That's not how to survive this season. For those of you who are just watching us, what we are discussing right now is American immigrants and the rise in immigration enforcement. And I'm talking about 7 practical steps to survive this season of fear. 7 practical steps to survive the season of fear. If you're just joining us, that's where we are. And then I've shared 5 of them. I've shared 5 of these tips. Number 1, know your immigration story better than other people. Number 2, stop getting legal advice from people whose qualifications are my cousin did it or my brother did it. Get proper advice from a proper lawyer. Book a consultation call with one of them, preferably me, of course, and I'll break it down for you. Speak with Ope.com and you'll be okay. Number 3, I said keep your papers together and handy. Immigration might show up at any time. You want your papers that are going to be used to be something you can easily find. Number 4, have an immigration family emergency plan. Don't wait until they knock on your door before you come up with a plan. Number 5, take every immigration notice seriously. That's the one I just finished treating. If you miss any part of this, you can watch the rerun of the show for the full details of this. Number 6 tip, don't become your own immigration problem. A lot of people in their panic, they have become their own immigration problem. That's why I said earlier that during my rant, that fear is the worst thing that is happening right now. Don't become your own immigration problem. Sometimes, and I've seen enough of this, immigration isn't really what gets people into trouble. Bad decisions do. Bad decisions like drunk driving. You know you're an illegal immigrant, but you're drinking and driving. And yet you want to blame Donald Trump when they deport you. Bad decisions. Domestic violence. You're in America. You know that when it comes to domestic violence, they don't play. But you don't have papers, or you have a shaky paper, or maybe you have just green card, and then you want to be beating your wife or be violent to your husband. That's a bad decision. You are your own immigration problem. Or you come to another person's country, you don't respect yourself, and you're doing fraud. And then when they want to deport you, people want to be blaming Donald Trump. That Donald Trump is wicked. That man has been in America for 30 years. But you know that when you are going to go do fraud, that you are not from this place. They did not born you here. As somebody would tell me, you are not born here. Respect their laws. So stop making bad decisions. Stop becoming your own immigration problem. Fake documents. You know you're an immigrant, but you're getting involved in fake documents without seeking proper legal advice. Don't become your own immigration problem. You become your own immigration problem when you get into unnecessary drama. You're a guest. I know this may surprise some of you. You expect me to come here and be lambasting Donald Trump. I'm not going to do that. He's the president of America. Whatever he wants to do with his country is between him and Americans, not you. Your own is to look for how you're going to survive whatever madness is going on. Don't become your own immigration problem and be doing unnecessary drama all over the place. You see you see immigrants from Nigeria, from Ghana, from South Africa. They come to America, they don't have papers, or maybe they got green card, or maybe they have temporary card, and they are fighting on the streets. They are getting involved in things that will make immigration look at them or government look at them. You saw in Dubai the other day, Nigerians who are engaged in cult activities, fighting themselves in broad daylight. And then you are now abusing Dubai when they banned all Nigerians from coming to their country. What do you want them to do? Same way in America. Unnecessary drama makes you your own immigration problem, because look at the Somalians in Minneapolis. A lot of people are feeling sorry for them. This particular lawyer does not. Because if you're an immigrant, you need to respect yourself. You need to respect the laws of the land you find yourself. If you want them to leave you alone, you don't go get involved in unnecessary drama and try to be causing political problems for the government. No. Because I know Nigerians won't take that. South Africans are driving Nigerians from their country right now. Why? Because they say they're involved in unnecessary drama. They're involved in fraud, domestic violence, all those stuff. They're counting it for us. Ghanaians too are expelling some Nigerians. So why should you not be complaining about America? Where you come to their country and you become your own immigration problem by getting... I can't believe it. I had a client. To me, they look like I preached to them. He was put in deportation proceedings because he has his fourth drunk driving conviction. Fourth. So he came into my office. I said, listen, I'll try my best to help you. And we are helping him now. We're able to find one loophole or the other that we're now using to take his case to federal court, and now it's on bail. But I had to first speak to him for 30 minutes. Now listen to me. You're an immigrant here. You know what will happen when you do drunk driving. You can kill somebody. A lot of drunk drivers have killed somebody. You have been convicted of 4 of them, and you still want to stay in America. You know what he told me? But a lot of Americans who do drunk driving. I'm like, are you an American? Those who own their country, they can do whatever they want. They will go to jail, they will come out, they go about their life. But you are an immigrant. You are not yet a citizen. And you want to be having the same rights or being able to do drunk driving with Americans born here. So you wonder when you finish your sentence, they should let you stay here. I'm like, you are delusional. You are your own problem. Stop drinking and driving. Go get professional help. I will get you a doctor to help you if you are struggling with alcohol addiction. But don't come here and be crying about America. Then I charge them a big money, because when I found that loophole that we can use to help him, I'm like, this is going to cost you. We'll try to help you keep your green card, but it's going to cost you a lot of money. And he paid. Yes, he's been able to come out, and we're hoping that we're able to save his green card eventually in federal court. But my point is, don't become your own immigration problem. There's already too much negative thing against immigrants, especially by this government. You know it. You are not living under the rock. You know Donald Trump left to him if they can deport all immigrants that are criminal or that have, even the ones that are not criminal, the man wants everybody out. We know that. Your job is to make sure you don't give him that ammunition. Don't give them excuse. Don't be your own problem. That will be my own advice for some of us. Don't come and be claiming right that is not yours. You know you're an immigrant, then don't do drunk driving. Don't do domestic violence. Don't do fraud. Don't do fake documents. Don't do unnecessary drama. Those are all bad decisions. And bad decisions make you your own immigration problem. One stupid decision can create immigration problems that did not exist before. That's what I keep saying to some of my clients. that you first have to acknowledge that your bad decision caused this. Now, there are some who didn't do anything wrong. I'm not talking about those. Immigration climate is so crazy now that nobody is safe, including even me, self, that is a naturalized American, because they say they are taking citizenship from people now. So everybody got to respect themselves now, because that is the law and that is the climate that you have until they change it. Our job is to try to survive. Okay? One stupid mistake or decision can turn your American dream into a nightmare. So that will be my 6th tip to you today to survive this immigration season of fear. Don't be your own immigration problem. Don't let your enemies defeat you, is what I'm saying. At least that's what we say back home. Number 7, don't let your enemies celebrate over you. As the Yoruba people will say, if I can put that in there right there. Let everybody respect themselves. Number 7, for surviving this season of fear, please, this is not self-serving. You don't have to use me. I'll be happy to help you. I'll be happy to consult with you, but this is not about me. Know a good immigration lawyer before you need one. Go consult with one. Most charge between $100 and $300. I charge only $100. You can consult with me at speakwithope.com right now. Just go there, speakwithope.com, and book an appointment. If you have an immigration lawyer around you or you know someone that does it for free, go do an immigration consultation. Know where a good immigration lawyer is before you need one, so that you know your options in advance. You can even do consultation with more than one. 1, 2, 3, so that you know the one that you will call if wahala comes, especially when you know you don't have your papers ready, or your papers are shaky, or maybe you have some criminal record. You know they're trying to take down every immigrant with a criminal record now. If you know that you could be a target, or you have family members who could be, then go know a good immigration lawyer before you ever need one. You know why? Because by the time you need one, you are not going to be able to have that time and independence to look for a good one. That's how you end up in the hands of a bad immigration lawyer. That's why you end up in the hands of somebody who will take your money and not even show up for hearing. That's why you end up in the hands of one that is so busy, they don't even have 10 minutes to study your case before they start doing rubbish. But if you are proactive, it doesn't mean you are filing papers right now. A lot of you don't even have any papers to file. I get that. But do consultations. Do research. Know a good immigration lawyer. Have his information handy. Have it in your wallet. Have it in your wife's wallet to the one to call before you need one. That is one of the biggest strategies to survive this season of fear. If you are watching this and you're enjoying this show, please help me share the link and put your comments in the show. Know a good immigration lawyer before you need one. Notice what I said. Know one. I didn't say go and hire one for everything. Just know one right now. Because when panic arrives, clear thinking disappears. I've been there before. I know exactly what I'm talking about. And the worst time to start looking for a professional help is when everything is already on fire. Build relationships before emergencies happen. It can save your future. Consult an immigration lawyer. Know your options in advance before you have to choose. Of course, as I said, I'll be happy to consult with you nationwide on Zoom. I have lots of them on Zoom these days, or in my office or our new office in Dallas, Arlington. You go to speakwithope.com and simply book one. It's only $100. And that $100 consultation may save you thousands of dollars and lots of anxiety down the road, even if we can't help you right now. But it's not about me. You can consult any immigration attorney you can find. If speaking with me is not an option. But whatever you do, speak to somebody qualified today. Don't speak to notarios. Don't speak to what they call those who call themselves legal consultants, immigration consultants who are not lawyers. Talk to one that is practicing it actively. and be ready. That's it, people. For those of you watching, those are my 7 tips for you to survive the season of fear, as I talked about American immigrants and the rise in immigration enforcement. 7 practical steps for you to survive the season of fear. I know. Now, after listening to all these 7 points, some of you may be thinking, okay, Dr. Ope, what exactly is happening right now that is making everybody nervous? And I say, that's an excellent question, because immigration isn't just about your individual case. It's about what the government is doing, what the courts are doing, what ICE, the dreaded ICE, is doing, what USCIS is doing, and what new policies are out there or coming down the pipeline. And that's why we do this show. Because one court decision in Washington can affect thousands of immigrants across America overnight. And one immigration rumor on social media can create unnecessary panic in immigration communities for weeks. That's why every week on this show, we try to separate facts from fear, reality from rumor, and separate law from gossip. So when we come back, it's going to be time for what I call the Immigration Rottweilers Weekly Updates. And this update is where I'm going to be covering some of the latest developments that happened in the last week or two. The biggest immigration developments in America this week. What happened, why it matters to you, and what immigrants should actually be paying attention to. So please stay with us on Immigration Survival Show with Ope Banwo and Co. You are watching us right now on the Immigrant Survival Show with Ope Banwo. And the Rottweiler, I call it the Immigration Rottweiler, is just getting warmed up. So don't go away. We will be back in a minute as I introduce some of these short videos. We are going to come back and we're going to be talking about major developments in American immigration this week. And it will stun you every week. Something new always come out. Many times, even we lawyers, we hear about it coming out when our clients start burning up our phones. It's that fast. They don't tell us in advance sometimes. Sometimes they tell us, sometimes we see it coming. So this past 7 days, a lot has happened. And when I come back, I'll be sharing 7 of them with you. Some of them will blow you away. They are for real. And you may have to go doing research to be sure what I just said is correct. So don't go away. And when we come back, we'll take all of that. But as I began researching more into immigration law in the library, I discovered something even more shocking. There were dozens of legal pathways available to immigrants. Not just asylum as I thought. There were visas for extraordinary ability, visas for athletes, visa for performance, employment-based visas, several of them, family petitions, investor visas. Many highly educations around me could have qualified for visas like O visa, EB1 visa, or EB2 visas. Visas that could have given them permanent residency. But they didn't even know those options existed. So they lived underground, fueled by rumors of those around them, working out jobs with their degrees, hiding from immigration, living far below their potential. And then I also saw something even more heartbreaking for me. So some immigrants, when they finally gathered the courage to apply for legal relief, but when immigration scheduled them for interviews or court hearings, they ran away. Based on the advice of others, they believed the interview was a trap. What they didn't realize was that running away often destroyed their chances permanently of staying in this country. Alrighty, just wanted to show you that as we get to the next phase of this, and I think now we're going to be going to the alerts for the day. I tend to be a little bit more passionate when I talk about the earlier part, which is the things to do to survive. Now let's talk about the updates as I relax a little bit to tell you some of the stuff that is already happening or that have happened in the last a few days in what I call the Immigration Rottweilers Weekly bulletin. The major developments that happened in America in the last week or two. I'm going to be covering about 7 of them that I think are very important. There's a lot of them that has happened this past week or the past 2 weeks. And if I had to go through all of them, we'll be here for hours. But I try to sanitize them. I try to synthesize them, as I like to call it, and focus only on what I think is of general interest. There are some that are very specific to a small group of people. There's some that are just developments for a few people. I try not to cover so much of that. I want to cover what I call the general developments that probably will affect everybody in the country. Okay, the immigration system continues to experience major policy shifts, court battles, and aggressive enforcement actions affecting immigrants, visa holders, students, and asylum seekers, green card applicants, and even immigration lawyers themselves. Some affect even those who are already citizens. Some of these new developments may create new risk, is why we talk about them. Others create new opportunities for you. But one thing is certain: immigrants can no longer afford to rely on rumors. TikTok immigration is not the way to go. And TikTok immigration experts or outdated immigration assumptions only get you into more problems. So right now, as I'm going to talk about this new segment, we're going to talk about 7 major immigration developments from this week and what they mean for immigrants across America and those who are intending to come to America. One of the updates I want to share with you, and if you are watching this, please help us create more awareness about this show. Share the links with your friends. And if you happen to be in the Dallas metropolis, we've just opened our new branch there in Arlington. That's 420 East Lamar Boulevard. 420 East Lamar Boulevard in Arlington, 76011. Check us out. We are officially dedicating the office this whole month of June that we're about to take. We've been there for a while now. We've assembled everything and we're ready to go. But we represent clients nationwide. And please share this link with your friends or people you think need to hear this. So the first update of the week I'd like to talk about is that we have had this. I know I was one of the attorneys that broke this when it first came up. The USCIS may restrict more green card applicants from adjusting inside the US. But the update for today, this has happened almost 10 days now or more. The update today is that they are now beginning to clarify what it really means a little bit more. Because reports indicate, what the update for today is that the reports indicate that US may move more towards requiring immigrants to complete green cards processing abroad through consular processing instead of allowing adjustment of status inside the US. This, of course, could potentially affect H-1B workers, F-1, employment-based visa applicants, marriage-based applicants, and temporary visa holders currently in America. But as we got more clarity, it's becoming clear that it's not everybody that will be told to go home and adjust their status. Now we know for those who are in what they call life-threatening situations, like if you have a VAWA application pending, like violence against women application, domestic violence protection application going on, they are not going to ask you to go home and go and adjust. Possibly if you have an asylum petition pending already, they're not going to tell you to go home and adjust your status. Obviously, you filed asylum because you are afraid of going back to your country. So now we're getting a little bit more clarity that it's not going to be everybody. And this is why we share this, so that you can begin to position yourself. They are saying adjustment of status in US is an extraordinary benefit. And so you have to tell them, show them why your case is extraordinary, why they should not send you back to your country to adjust. And as the fog begins to clear, we are seeing some glimpses of what could be extraordinary circumstances, and hopefully you can begin to position yourself to make sure you are, if you qualify for that, you begin to develop that further, So those in life-threatening situations, we're hearing now that those will not be sent back to America to adjust. So if you have a violence against women thing pending, or you are in a T visa situation or U visa, those are victims, people like victims like T visa, victims of human trafficking, those who are helping government with prosecuting criminals, T visa, U visa, those areas they are saying they were not going to send you home to adjust. A word is enough for the wise. You can read between the lines and begin to think, how can I position myself here? So here is my own strategic recommendation on this development. Avoid unnecessary international travel. Excuse me. If your immigration case is still pending, even if you have advanced parole, you want to really, really think about it before you travel. Maintain lawful immigration status at all times. Just before your status expires, if you know your status is going to expire, talk to your immigration lawyer. Let's see what maneuver they can make to make sure that your status doesn't expire. That's why you see people going from H1B changing to B1, B2, from B1, B2 changing to F1. Do what you can to make sure your status does not expire. Because once it expires, you are most likely going to be told to go outside the country to adjust, even if you marry an American citizen, despite the fact that there are exceptions to that in the law right now. But they're now saying you have to tell them that you have an extraordinary situation that does not require you having to go home. So you want to be smart. You want to consult experienced immigration counsel before making major immigration decisions. That will be my own strategic advice on this immigration update. The second update that I want to share with you is that now we are hearing there's a memo out there that ICE, that is immigration enforcement, may increase scrutiny of asylum cases. In fact, the last bulletin we got last week says that now they've received permission to prosecute immigration lawyers who are helping people file frivolous asylum cases. That's how serious they're taking this now. That even lawyers are no longer safe, meaning that lawyers should investigate asylum cases properly themselves before they file it and make sure you don't file frivolous asylum cases. So they're saying there's going to be more scrutiny of asylum cases. And you, as an immigrant, need to understand that. The federal authorities, I'm going to say this again so that you get this update very well. They just came up this last week. Federal authorities are increasing investigations into allegedly fraudulent asylum filings. And they may also scrutinize attorneys who are accused of knowingly filing false asylum claims. Why does this matter? This signals a major escalation in asylum enforcement nationwide. We have to take that for what it is. It signals a major escalation in asylum enforcement nationwide. The government appears increasingly focused on those who are doing fabricated persecution claims, fake affidavits, fraudulent supporting evidence, those who are getting overcoached for their testimony. But as lawyers, obviously lawyers, you have to go over your case with you before you go to court, but they're calling it coach testimony. They're focusing on taking down organized immigration fraud operations. Now, this new update could lead to tougher asylum interviews. It just tells you, I'm all about how you're going to survive. The reason why I'm sharing this update with you that came down last week is that you now know that it will lead to tougher asylum interviews and you must be ready. It's going to probably lead to more requests for evidence. When you file, they will tell you to bring more additional documents. It's probably going to lead to increased denials of your asylum interviews. And it's going to lead to definitely heightened scrutiny of asylum documentation. But at the same time, legitimate asylum seekers may now face more difficult and stressful adjudications. Because now they don't know who is who. Now that they got this permission, now even those who are legitimate asylum seekers may now start facing more difficult and more stressful adjudications. That is a development. So what is my own, what I call the immigration Rottweiler's strategic recommendation? My own strategic recommendation with this development will be never exaggerate or fabricate asylum claims, never submit fake documents or affidavits, be completely truthful with your attorney so that you don't get him in trouble. Avoid notarios and unlicensed immigration consultants because they will get you more in trouble because they don't know the law. Avoid notarios when it comes to filing your asylum claims. Avoid unlicensed immigration consultants. And part of my advice to you will be work only with qualified immigration counsel, experience in immigration law. And more importantly, I will encourage you, if you're going to file asylum, look for people who look like you, people who have been through the kind of pain you went through. Don't go get lawyers who have no empathy for where you're coming from and what your problem is. Most times, they're going to treat you like just a number. Even when you're telling the truth, they believe you're lying. Some of them may even report you to immigration. This is what is going on here. So you need to take this alert, this immigration development to earth, especially if you have an asylum case pending or you're thinking of filing one. You need to know that there is a new development in that area. Now, a third development that may not be for everybody, but that is also equally important for millions of young people, is that DACA recipients may now face greater deportation risk. Now, what exactly is this update? Recent DOJ developments is suggesting to us that the government may have broader authority to continue or to reopen removal proceedings involving DACA recipients. Yeah, of course, I know everybody doesn't know what a DACA is. So what exactly is a DACA recipient? What is DACA? DACA is a short, they love shorting forms in America. Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals is what is called DACA. Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals. The DACA thing is a temporary immigration program that protects certain undocumented immigrants who are brought to the U.S. as children from deportation, and it allows them to obtain work permits. This started from the time of Obama, where we have all these children that were brought in when they were young by their parents. And then the question became, what exactly does America do with them? Because if you are 5 years old and your parent wants to go jackpot to America from Mexico or Guatemala or El Salvador or Nigeria or wherever, and he says, come along, you're not going to tell your mom at 5 years old that you don't want to go to America illegally. Now you're going to follow your parents. So we have all these children that are brought by their parents illegally into America, especially from Mexico, Guatemala, El Salvador, and all those Hispanic countries mostly. And it was decided to protect them, even though Obama, as much as we all love him as a black president, he could have done something better. Instead of allowing them to be given green cards, he created something that is not green card, but at the same time not legalization, and not illegal. He called it DACA, meaning that they are going to defer their deportation, even though they're illegal. These children, that we will not deport them, we'll give them work permits, we'll let them go to school, we'll let them live here, but they don't give them green card. So their case was in limbo. They are deportable, but DACA says hold them here while we figure out what to do with them, and that has been years for now. It's one of the marks that people have against Obama, that as a Democratic president, he could have fought for them, all these children, to be given green cards, so that way many of them will have their way to citizenship now, and they won't have to deal with this immigration season of fear that many of us are dealing with. I don't get into the politics. I'm just telling you what has happened. So those are DACA people. Now, the new Department of Justice is trying to reopen their removal proceedings and start deporting some of them. So why does this matter? Many people who receive DACA, and there are millions of these children, mistakenly assume that DACA provides permanent protection from deportation for them, because that's how it was sold. Their parents believe that, once that my child now has DACA, he cannot be deported. Or the children themselves, many of whom are now adults, who are also having children on their own now. Remember, They got their DACA, but they've all been here for years. I imagine we are talking about time of Obama, which is how many years ago now? At least 15 years. So many of them are adults now. Now immigration is saying we can reopen their case and start deporting some of them. So it was a mistake to assume. DACA remains a temporary discretionary program that continues facing political and legal challenges nationwide. There are many cases in court over it. So here is my strategic recommendation for you if you're a DACA recipient out there. Renew your DACA as early as legally permitted. Avoid criminal conduct entirely. Don't drink and drive. Don't go do fraud. Don't go do domestic violence, because that gives them opportunity to put aside your DACA and deport you. Part of my advice is keep your immigration records organized and updated. And if ICE ever contacted you, consult immigration attorney immediately. Don't tell yourself I have DACA. Get a lawyer immediately. And finally, begin to explore long-term immigration options beyond DACA wherever possible, because DACA is no longer as safe as it used to be under this new dispensation. I know DACA is not for everybody, but it's for millions of youths. Is why I decided to cover that update this week. Another update number 4 for today, is federal courts are beginning to push back. Excuse me, I have this cough that refused to go. It's been a week now, and I'm hoping that the thing will just go. Federal courts are pushing back against parts of the asylum ban, and that should interest a lot of people who want to file asylum in America but are have been prevented because of the Trump policy. Federal courts are now continuing to review and limiting portions of the recent asylum restrictions implemented by the Trump administration, which is like you can stay outside the country and file your asylum out there, not while you're in the country. So why does this matter? It confirms, this new update confirms an important reality many immigrants misunderstand. Asylum is not dead in America. Thank God for that. Asylum is not dead. While asylum cases have become more difficult, more political, and more heavily scrutinized, U.S. immigration law still protects the rights of eligible individuals to seek asylum in America. America is supposed to be a safe haven for immigrants who are running from persecution. So this part remains a major legal battleground between the federal courts and the executive branch. And it was really encouraging to see the federal court push back and say, no, that policy of Trump, we're not going to accept. So what's my strategic recommendation for this development? Like I always do not rely on fear-driven social media rumors. There's a lot of rumors out there saying that you can't file asylum anymore. You file asylum, this will happen to you, this will happen to you. No. Don't rely on fear-driven social media rumors. Number 2, if you are minded on filing asylum, properly document all your persecution claims. And you can still put it in. Preserve your evidence. File complete and credible asylum applications. See, the reason why many asylum applications are considered frivolous is because they are filed by people who are not lawyers. They just fill the form. They don't even document it. They don't provide all the requirements, especially the legal requirements to qualify. So even if you have a real persecution, they treat your case as a frivolous asylum because it wasn't properly documented. So my own strategic advice is that for you to seek competent legal advice before you file. Asylum is no longer something that you just go to immigration and submit a document. Even if you are facing serious persecution in your country, they may still treat it as a frivolous one because it's not properly documented. After all, what is immigration? Immigration is about documentation. It's not emotion. It's not sentiment. They are not in your country. They don't see how much pain you went through. They don't see who try to kill you. They don't see who try to persecute you. They can only see the documentation you provide, the way you told your story, the way you describe in detail what really happened to you. And most times, if you're not a lawyer, you cannot do that thoroughly, at least in the legal sense, for your case to be taken seriously as a serious asylum case. So this new federal court pushback in the case that they did last week basically tells us that asylum is not yet banned in America, or asylum is dead. The asylum is not yet dead in America. You can still file it and you can still win it. It's just that now you need to be more thorough and you need to use professionals. And of course, you don't want to file frivolous claims. A fifth development that I think we should all know as an update for the week is that what used to be impossible before, we are hearing a lot of it. Yes, I never thought a day will come that people will be afraid that they will take away their citizenship. Unfortunately, one of the updates for the week for you, and I don't want to be the bearer of bad news, don't hold me responsible here, I'm just the news bearer. There is now an increasing denaturalization moves by the USCIS and the Department of Justice. They are increasing denaturalization actions. What does this mean? Federal authorities are reportedly increasing efforts to investigate and revoke U.S. citizenship obtained through fraud or material representation. Yes, it sounds crazy, but believe it or not, that is a very important update. They're increasing their efforts to investigate and revoke. Before, we used to think that once you have got American citizenship, your fears as an immigrant is over. Not anymore. Why does this matter? Many immigrants mistakenly believe citizenship permanently closes their immigration file forever. That once you get your citizenship, everything is closed forever. Not necessarily. Not necessarily. Citizenship obtained through fraud may still be challenged years later. Donald Trump did not create that law. I keep telling everybody who cares to listen, it has always been there. It's just that many governments have not been invoking that provision of the law. If you obtained your citizenship through fraud, maybe you lied at the time you got your green card. Maybe you lied to get your green card. Maybe you married somebody for papers to get your green card. And then from your green card later, you became a citizen. If they found out later that your marriage was fraud, or that there was fraudulent, or that you had a crime, or something happened before you got your citizenship, they can go back and revoke that citizenship. That provision has always been in the law. I have to be honest with you. It is easy to blame Donald Trump for everything. No, Donald Trump did not pass the law. The law has been there. But what he is doing now is that he is enforcing it more than Obama, more than Biden, more than everybody else. So the fact that you are now an American citizen, the fact that I'm now an American citizen does not necessarily mean my immigration file is closed forever. Does not necessarily mean your immigration file is closed forever. USCIS are now increasing efforts to denaturalize people who got their citizenship through fraud. Areas that we are seeing that are reportedly receiving increased scrutiny include fake marriages, those who marry people for papers. So if you happen to be one of those people, you better be nice to the person who helped you to get your citizenship and get your green card. Because many of you, when you get your green card, all of a sudden, you no longer care about that person. You treat them as if they are nothing. They can still make your citizenship go away. Fake marriages, those who did fraudulent asylum claims, they can still revisit your asylum and ask how you got it and what your stories are if you lied there. Concealed criminal history. If you had a criminal history for some reason that you did not disclose when you are filling your naturalization form, and they find out, and you know that one of the bad things that has happened is that, at least from the point of view of immigrants, is that people like Elon Musk, they've now done all these things that joined all the records globally. So that when they punch your name into a system now, everything comes out. Before, it wasn't so. They have to specifically ask for records in Nebraska for your record to come out. They have to specifically ask for your record in New York before your record will come out. But now they can put your name on the system and every record you have all over America will come out. Now, if you had a criminal record that you did not disclose before you got your citizenship or before you got your green card, they can revisit it and they can take away your citizenship. If you did identity fraud or you made false statements during your naturalization and got away with it then, they can revisit your cold case and they can bring that back and take your citizenship away. And those of you who are busy on social media attacking America, you better believe it. They can revisit your naturalization and take it away because you are disloyal to America. This is not a joke anymore. I tell my clients, if you are in America, or want to be in America, or you want to come to America, don't join them on social media to be calling America all sorts of names. I know you're going to tell me you have freedom of speech, and you do. But if your freedom of speech is going to prevent your American dream from becoming a reality, then you better be smart. You better be smart. You don't have to do that. Let Americans be fighting themselves on social media. Those who are born here, who cannot get their citizenship withdrawn. Even those ones self, you had Donald Trump saying he wants to go to Supreme Court. In fact, it's in Supreme Court to try to say that if you are even born here by parents who are illegal, they should not give you American citizenship. Not to not talk about you and I that just came from Nigeria or came from South Africa or came from Ghana. You want to be joining them to be calling America all sorts of names, especially over this war in Iran and those places. Keep your right to freedom of speech to yourself. Or make up your mind you are never coming here. And then you can say whatever you want. Because right now, those could be things that could activate them to take away your citizenship. So here is my own strategic advice on this matter, on this new development. Always provide truthful information in immigration filings. I tell my clients, always be truthful. Yeah, the truth may hurt you in terms of disqualifying from some whatever, but the truth, at least, will not give you permanent ban. But if you lie, it can hurt you badly even after you have gotten your green card. Number 2 strategic advice or recommendation here, keep copies of all immigration applications permanently. Whatever your lawyer filed for you, you need to tell him to give you photocopy. It's amazing how many people I meet who don't have copies of what their lawyers filed for them. And I always tell them, if I'm going to file new papers for you, it is important for me to see what you have filed before so that I do not contradict whatever you have said before. Because if the information you provided before is different from the one I'm providing now in a material particular, then they will say you have lied to immigration and they can ban you forever. And if you have a citizenship, they can take it away. But if you don't have copies, and some of them, maybe they went to a lawyer 10 years ago, maybe the lawyer has been disbarred, or the lawyer is no longer practicing law, or the lawyer has left town, they have nowhere to get copies. I ran into that in Houston. I went to Houston to do some consultation because we're also thinking about opening an office in Houston. So I was doing some preliminary discussions there. So I got several people to book appointments, and I went there for a few days just to help people solve problems. And I met this gentleman. He has no record of anything that has been filed for him. Meanwhile, he has used 3 different lawyers on his immigration case in America. And all 3 of them have filed one thing or the other for him, but he just has a vague idea what they filed. He has no copy. And I'm telling him, me rushing to file anything for you right now can even put you in more trouble than you are already. That the first thing we have to do is let us pay me a little money, let me go do a freedom of information request to get all copies of your file from immigration. Because when I get all the copies, then I can read it and then make sure that whatever it is I'm saying now, I don't knowingly contradict a fact that is in your old file. So my strategic advice is get copies of your papers. If you don't have it now, you better go start looking for that lawyer right now. If it's a notarial that help you file, better go to their office and get a photocopy. because you will need it. And of course, part of my advice here is that consult immigration personnel before filing sensitive or complex applications. You might say you don't want to pay lawyers, but when the trouble comes, it's going to cost you a lot more than that. Not only the money, but the pain, the anxiety, and maybe the nightmare that your American dream can turn into. So my advice is now on this also is that consult immigration lawyer before filing sensitive or complex applications. Even if you think you can file it yourself, there's that comfort that using a licensed attorney will give you. And if a licensed attorney makes mistake in your case, you still get an opportunity to reopen your case later than if you did it yourself. Then you have nobody to blame. Number 6, development. Yes, so immigration just swore in 77 new immigration judges this past week. 77 new ones. Donald Trump mean business. This update says EOIR, that's the Executive Office of Immigration Review, those are the deportation courts, recently swore in 77 immigration judges and 5 temporary judges. This is one of the largest immigration judge classes in U.S. history. In 1 week, 77 of them, or call it 83 because they also had 5 temporary ones. Why does this matter? This obviously could significantly impact immigration courts nationwide. And political effects will include faster hearing notices. Before, people are at least by time, they might tell you to come back in 1 year. We have people who were arrested like 3 years ago. Some people were arrested, but they were given notice to appear in court in 2034. That's 6 years after. Okay, or 8 years after they've been arrested. But now, with more immigration judges, we are going to be seeing faster hearing notices. We are going to be seeing reduced backlogs on deportation cases. We are going to be seeing quicker deportation proceedings, obviously. Then the parliament will be making faster asylum decisions because before, when you file asylum, it might take years and years before they get around to you. But with these new judges, some of the developments is going to be faster asylum decisions. And of course, maybe more aggressive court scheduling. Because before, when you go to court and you're getting a continuance, they may give you continuance for a year, 6 months, or 9 months. But with more judges being sworn in, all of these things are going to get reduced. So this matters. Because at the same time, many immigrant advocates remain concerned about fairness and due process when there is accelerated proceedings. But it is what it is. It is what it is. So what's my own strategic recommendation here for this update? Number 1, never ignore immigration court notices. They're going to be less patient with you. They deport you in absentia. Number 2, attend every scheduled hearing. Attend every scheduled hearing. When you are still showing up, you have a chance. When you don't show up, then you close the door in America to yourself forever. You can run, you can hide, but the day they get you, you're going to be in jail until they deport you, and you can never come back. Number 3, strategic advice here, keep your address updated with immigration court if you happen to be in immigration court. Number 4 advice, begin gathering evidence and documentation early because you're not going to get a long adjournment anymore. So if you have a deportation case, you want to start gathering your evidence now, quickly, early, because a judge may give you 2 weeks to file all your papers for trial. Unlike before that, they might give you 6 months or 1 year. With all these new judges coming in, that is my own strategic recommendation. Start gathering your evidence early. And my final advice here is that prepare your immigration case aggressively and proactively. In other words, don't wait until the judge is looking to deport you before you start stammering. You want to prepare your case aggressively and proactively because the judges have your time now. They're not going to gloss over stuff anymore. You need to be ready. You need to get good, competent lawyers to represent you. And the final update I want to share before we go to the Q&A session This is about international students. At least that's some good news. I don't want to be seen as the prophet of doom. So I'm always happy when there's some good news to report. See, this update in this update, a federal judge, that's the last bastion of us now. A federal judge has temporarily blocked efforts that is affecting Harvard. Can you imagine them going after Harvard itself? That affects Harvard University's ability to enroll international students under the what they call the SEP program, the Student and Exchange Visitor Program. They were actually blocked from doing that. But the federal judge has blocked that block now that is affecting Harvard. Now, why does this matter? I know this is just Harvard we're talking about, but this good news has broader implications for F1 students, OPT participants, exchange students, universities nationwide in America, and future international student policies. The ruling also demonstrates that federal courts continue to play a major role in limiting and reviewing executive immigration actions. They are the only ones standing between many immigrants and deportation now, federal courts. And this decision that came in last week shows us that the federal judges continue to be the last hope. They continue to stand between us and the aggressive immigration deportation strategies. Many of our clients that we've been able to get out of ICE, we had to go to federal court, file habeas corpus, especially those who are detained without bond. Before, bond used to be easy. All of a sudden, getting a bond for your client when they are detained has become a Nobel Prize a type of effort. If you came in illegally now, they're not even going to give you any bond when you get detained. Even when you come in legally and you have a green card, they detain you and they don't want to release you pending until your case is over. Thank God for federal court, because we want several habeas corpus applications to federal court to get people who are detained without bond to be released by the federal court. So this decision by the federal court to also support Harvard is still being able to service their foreign students is a good development. It's something that excites us that, yeah, they are still with us. They are still with us. BIA is no longer with us like that, the Board of Immigration Appeals, but the federal courts, they continue to stand between immigrants and the aggressive enforcement policies of the president. So that is one of the major benefits of this new development, and that's why I wanted to mention that. So that's it. Those are the 7 immigration updates I wanted to discuss with you this week. America's immigration system is becoming tougher, faster, and increasingly unpredictable. That's a fact. And every one of us, those of us in America, those of us who are living here, those of us who don't want to live here, we need to pay attention to that. See, despite all of this, I'm an optimist. I believe opportunities still exist for immigrants who stay informed, who remain truthful, who maintain lawful status, who prepare strategically, and those who seek competent legal guidance early. The operative word is for you to seek competent legal guidance early before trouble comes. After all, family petitions still exist in America. People are still getting it. Employment-based green cards still exist. People are still getting it. Business visas still exist. Many are still getting them. I'm representing a lot of them. Asylum protection still exists in America. People are winning it, even though it's tougher than it used to be. Extraordinary ability visas still exist. So the American dream is still alive for immigrants who move strategically instead of emotionally. What I noticed is that a lot of immigrants are moving emotionally and they are getting crushed. But those who are moving strategically, they are still smiling. So I encourage you to subscribe for the free weekly immigration alerts that I am going to be putting out every week now. We have the Rottweiler immigration briefing and alert. that will be coming out literally every week. I want to encourage you, if you have not yet subscribed to it, you want to subscribe to it by going to banwolaw.net/newsletter. It is 100% free. banwolaw.net/newsletter. And you'll be one of the first to receive those my alerts when they come out. I will send it through that a digital newsletter. Please go ahead and subscribe right now. banwolaw.net/newsletter to be one of the people to get the free immigration alerts and to continue to receive the free immigration intelligence reports, because all my newsletter will always have some intelligence reports there. It will talk about immigrant survival strategies. It will talk about legal alerts and practical immigration guidance for you. So please go ahead and subscribe right now. banwolaw.net/newsletter. Now, when we come back after this short break, we are going to get to the final segment of this particular show, which is answering all your questions. Every question that you have for immigration, we are going to take at least another hour doing that, because I know that a lot of you have plenty of questions for me. You have plenty of questions that you like to ask, that you like solutions to your problems and all of that stuff. At least on this show, you get your answers for free. And we have several that has been sent in. I'm going to be taking them one by one. And if you have your own and it's not yet answered, please put it in the comments so that we can answer it for you. All right, we'll be back in the next 1 minute. Don't go away. You are watching the Immigration Survival Show with Ope Banwo, and this is our third episode. When we come back after these short videos, we will take all the questions that you may have. Please help me share this link with your friends. Let's have as many people as possible, those you know in America who might be interested in this, or those that you know that want to jackpot to America, share the link with them. Let us have an engagement. As I come back, I'll be taking the Q&A or ask all you want of Ope Banwo. But enjoy some of these videos that are also very instructive to your immigration dreams in America. My name is Ope Banwo, and they call me the Immigration Rottweiler. Not because I bark, not because I make noise, but because I don't let go. When your case gets tough, when the system pushes back, when others start telling you there is nothing we can do, that's when you call me. Because once I lock into your case, I don't stop, I don't quit, and I don't back down until we get results. So go book a consultation on speakwithope.com now, and let's activate the Rottweiler mode on your case before
they fear him. Clients trust him. The Immigration Rottweiler.
Thousands of immigrants lose their green card cases every year because of one simple mistake during the immigration interview. And here is the mistake. They go to the immigration interview unprepared. Many people assume the officer will just ask a few simple questions and they'll be done. But immigration officers are trained investigators. They are looking for inconsistencies, missing documents, and answers that don't match your application. If your answers contradict your paperwork, or if you don't bring the right evidence, your case can be delayed, denied, or even sent for further investigation that can open up other stuff for you. At BANWO Law, we help clients prepare for immigration interviews so that they understand what officers are really looking for and how to avoid the mistakes that destroy cases. So if you have an interview coming up, don't walk into that room unprepared. Call BANWO Law today at 888-215-5054 or visit us at speakwithope.com to book an appointment. A little preparation today could protect your entire immigration future. Do it now. Give us a call right now. Okay, welcome back. For those of you who are still with us on the show, this is Immigration Survival Show with the one and only Ope Banwo. And with me in the studio is Grace Okafor, Samuel Lockman, and Stephen Oyeleye. Those are my paralegals who helped me put this show together. I continue to appreciate you, the three of you, for being there. Let me bring them on stage briefly before we go to the Q&A. Thank you again, guys, for doing a great job in the studio for me. We're about to get into the Q&A session now and take some of the questions that has been sent to us since some of it on our pages, some of it in this call, and hopefully we get to answer all your questions tonight over the next 1 hour. For those of you, if you don't get to your questions today, please be assured we'll continue to store them and we'll answer them on the thread or bring them out in the next show. So let's first start with this first question from hold on a second here. I want to put the questions up on board. Where is it now? Okay, let's start with this. Is the first one we got actually. Somebody says, can my pending asylum case and the new small business partnership help me get status? Can my pending asylum case and a new small business partnership help me get status in US? Well, a pending asylum case already gives you a temporary legal process to remain in the US while your case is being decided. However, simply starting or joining a small business partnership does not automatically give you lawful status or give you a green card. A lot of people make that mistake, thinking that if they can start their own business, that their business can get them green card. It's not true. You can legally own or invest in a business in many situations in America. But immigration status and business ownership are two separate things, unless you get a smart lawyer to help you try to put them together even before you start the company. Your business may help only if it later qualifies maybe for an investor-based immigration category, or an employer employs you, or the business become eligible for programs like EB1 investment immigration or L1 and stuff like that. But it takes creativity on the part of your lawyer to make that be able to get you your papers. It doesn't automatically give you that. Also, asylum applicants may apply for work permit or what is called work authorization after meeting the USCIS eligibility requirement, meaning it must have been filed for more than 150 days and they have not yet called you for interview, blah, blah, blah. So that will give you work permit if you have an asylum file. And once approved, you can legally work or participate in business activities. But there's an important warning on this question that I think a lot of people make that mistake about. A business ownership or partnership does not automatically erase your unlawful presence, your visa overstays, or removal proceedings. It doesn't protect you from that. So my best practical advice, not knowing your specific situation, is that to keep your asylum case very strong and do not rely on business alone as an immigration solution unless you have a seasoned business immigration lawyer who is advising you every step of the way. So you should have an immigration attorney review both your asylum case and the business structure together, and they'll be able to tell you if you get a good one, how this can help you or not help you. That is the best I can give without having too much context on your situation. I hope that helps. Here's another question. I have B2 visa and I come 3 times to America. Can I make adjust of status married US citizen? I'm assuming you're saying I have a B2 visa and I've come to America 3 times. Can I adjust my status if I marry a US citizen? I hope that's what they are saying. That is what makes sense to me. If that is so, maybe possibly yes. Many people who enter the US legally on a B2 visa or tourist visa, they later marry American citizen and successfully apply for adjustment of status, at least until these new developments that we're all dealing with. The biggest issue that immigration, the biggest issue that immigration examine is your intent at the time you entered the US. A lot of people don't even think about this. They think that, oh, I can just marry a US citizen and then they will give me my green card. Not anymore. Now they are looking thoroughly at your intent. In fact, on another show, I'm going to be doing a training on that. That marriage to US citizen alone may not save you, because they want to look at your intent when you first came to the US. Did you enter as a true visitor, or did you enter with a plan in your head to already stay permanently by marrying an American citizen before you enter? Now, if immigration or USCIS, if they believe that you use a tourist visa with a hidden immigrant intent, in other words, you had a tourist visa, but you had a hidden intent never to go back, it could raise fraud or misrepresentation concern, even if your marriage is legitimate. Even if you have a genuine marriage, a lot of people marry American citizens don't think about that. But that is becoming a big issue now, where they are not even focused, they may not even focus on whether your marriage is real or not real. They are focusing on what was your intention when you came to America for the first time. But the good news here is that spouses of US citizens are classified as immediate relatives, and many are allowed to adjust in the US even after overstaying their visa. Immigration used to allow them to still be able to change to green card even after overstaying visa. But with the new directive that they are talking about now, they may say because you overstayed your visa, you have to go outside the country to go and adjust your status unless you have an extraordinary reason why they have to keep you here. And like I mentioned at the beginning of the show, some of the extraordinary reasons we are starting to find out has to do with whether you have a fear of life situations or you're in a violent situation. We are hearing that those who are filing domestic violence cases like VAWA cases, or those who are filing asylum cases, may not be required to go outside the country if they marry US citizens or if they are eligible to adjust their status. So in your case, since you have entered multiple times, I have to be honest with you, immigration may also start asking whether you are actually living in the US, whether you complied with the visitor visa rules when you came, and whether your trips were consistent with temporary tourism. I mean, somebody say they come to America 3 times. The first time you were here for 6 months. You went for only 2 months, then you came here for another 4 months. And then you went for 3 weeks, then you came here for, maybe you went to visa to Canada to go renew your thing and come back because you have multiple entry. You went to Canada or Mexico and came back almost immediately and you stayed another 6 months. They begin to ask you, are you really a visitor in America? You are living here permanently and just using that multiple entry visa to just be short-circuiting the process. That has become very serious now. They look at all of that. Because if you have a job in your country, you won't be in America for 6 months, go, then come back 2 months later and spend another 4 months, then go and come back within 3 months and spend another 5 months. They're going to ask you, qu'est-ce que c'est? What's going on here? If you have a job, you are not going to have, so they begin to question your motives now. So the best practical advice is not whether you can adjust status or not. You can, but this matters a lot. So here's my practical advice to you. You want to prepare strong evidence, assuming you are planning to get married, strong evidence of a real marriage, lawful entries, shared life document. In other words, that person you are going to marry to, you want to document your shared life experience. And of course, you have to tell the truth during your interview. Never lie to USCIS officer is always a bad idea. Now, I know it sounds unfair sometimes, the way they are doing these things now, that you have to document your marital life. Most Americans, when they marry their citizens, their wives, who are also American citizens, they don't do all this documentation now, but they require it of you because you are the one that want to become an American. And when they interview you and you're unlucky to get a Stokes interview, they may be asking you questions like, what did your wife eat yesterday night? And what did your wife wear 3 days ago? Most marriages don't remember that. If me and my wife were to go for a Stokes interview now, I'm sure we're going to fail, even though our marriage is real. We have 4 kids. We have been living together for 32 years. Because if they ask me, what did she eat yesterday, I don't think I'm going to remember that. We just had breakfast together upstairs. If you ask me right now, what was she wearing at breakfast? I don't know. I don't look at her and be looking at her clothes anymore. 32 years has passed. Okay? But immigration expects you to remember that with your own wife. Don't blame me. I'm telling you that's the law. You say you went with your wife yesterday to go and eat lunch. They may ask your wife, what did she add first as starter? Who keeps track of that stuff? But that is the new immigration reality. You have to be hyper aware. You have to keep records of your spouse because they ask you ridiculous questions that they expect you to have answer to because you are married to an American citizen. That to me is the more danger, and not whether you can adjust your status. If you marry an American citizen, you can do that. But there's a totality they are looking at now. What was your original intention of coming to America? Nobody cares that you finally fell in love and you want to marry, even if you really are in love. But if your moves before had shown that you want to stay in America permanently, your marriage to an American citizen may not help you. I hope you're hearing me. Talk to a lawyer. Yes, another question here. CC expiration date incorrect on all G150 forms. Should I refile? Should I refile without waiting for the package? This one is a very interesting question, a very important question, especially for those of us who are in America already, who are filing our papers. Usually, I will say no. In most cases, you should first wait to see whether USCIS rejects the package that you filed. Because you can't just file a whole new package when the one you filed is still there. Because Form G1450 is the form that USCIS uses to charge a filing fees to your credit card. That's the form you fill for them to charge your credit card for the filing fees. If the expiration date of your card is incorrect, the CC on it, the credit card that you put on it, if it is incorrect, the payment may fail and the USCIS could reject the entire filing package. I get that. However, immediately filing a duplicate filing can sometimes create duplicate numbers, duplicate fees, confusion, or processing in delay. So it's a tough one when you make that kind of mistake. So your instinct might be, let me quickly file another one. But to me, honestly, the safer approach might be monitor your credit card. Watch the USCIS text or email notification. They may send you an email notification about problem with the filing, in which case you are filing another one. Or you wait for either a receipt notice or rejection package, which is one of the two that you can get. They can reject it if the card didn't go through, or they can send you a receipt notice that they got your package. If your filing deadline is urgent, for example, your status is expiring, you have maybe lottery deadlines, or maybe age-out concerns, maybe you're about to age out from a category to the other, then my advice would be contact an immigration lawyer immediately to determine whether a backup filing is necessary. An immigration lawyer may actually call the immigration office where your stuff is being held and try to fix the problem. Or he may send an attorney note to them, or he will know what to do depending on the specific situation. Just don't handle it on your own, because you might cause more problem than you're trying to fix, because the CC or the credit card that you had is incorrect. Your first instinct is for you to refile without waiting for the package. But the package you file is there. Now you're going to have two. And there might be problems there that you may not be able to solve for 10 years. So personally, if I have a client that comes to me for that, what I might even say is that let's wait for them to reject the package, especially if there is no aging out concerns. Or we might then attempt trying to contact the office directly. Most times these days, they don't want to do that. But if there's an office where I practice a lot, where I know a lot of people in there, that might be easier. or to send a letter, especially if you already have an A number through a different process, where you send a letter with a new form, with a new G1450 form to correct it. But talk to a lawyer. They will know best depending on the entire situation surrounding you, not just that petition, to be able to decide for you what is the best thing to do. That's the best I can do here. But we have that. I've been through that before, where I mailed out the package and all of a sudden I realized that I did not include a very critical document. I had a document on my desk, but where I was making copy and working on it, I forgot to include it in the final package, even though I referred to it in my note. And the package was en route. I was running up and down, ran to post office to see if I can stop it. Where I tried to stop it, they said it can't be stopped. It got there. So the question is, do I just send that? But I know that when I send it, it's going to cause confusion. I actually did. And then it caused more confusion than it solved. But most of it is actually better now. Because now online, once you have your online account, they have a section there where you can send unsolicited email through your online USCIS account. And everybody who has a package with them can have a USCIS account. Your lawyer also has his own. So he can send an unsolicited letter or email to them explaining that this is a problem with the G1450 I filed before and filed a new one. So this problem can be solved better now. But you have to get a lawyer to get into it for you. Hopefully that helps you out there, Amos. Here is another question. If my petitioner dies and I have step siblings or step parents, like a stepmother or stepfather, can do what? I'm not sure I understand the full here. Are you meaning that they can step into your petition, or can they substitute the petition for you? I think that's what you're trying to say here, even though this statement is not complete. The petitioner dies and I have step siblings or step parents like stepmother or stepfather. Can they do it? What it means that can they now become the new petitioner, which is really the only question that I think makes sense here. It's the kind of question we get. Well, I would say possibly the probably can step in, but it depends on who filed the petition for you. Whether the petition was approved, your age at the time the petition was filed, your marital status, and whether the step relationship legally qualifies under immigration law. Some step relationship qualifies for you to change the petitioner, some do not. So normally, under immigration law, if a petitioner dies, the immigration petition probably dies with it or may be revoked. That is the general rule. But there are exceptions to the rule, just like everything. And one important option is called humanitarian reinstatement, which I'm sure if you get a good lawyer, they'll be able to work with you, possibly doing humanitarian reinstatement of your petition for you if your petitioner dies. Okay, and this humanitarian reinstatement simply means immigration may allow some approved family petitions to continue after the petitioner died if there is a qualifying substitute sponsor. The qualifying thing here is that, do you have a qualifying substitute sponsor? And some of these substitute sponsors can include a spouse, parent, sibling, adult child, mother-in-law, father-in-law, grandparent, grandchildren, grandchild, or legal guardian. See, it's a little bit convoluted. A step-parent or a step-child counts for immigration purposes if the marriage creating that relationship happened before the child turned 18. That's one of those rules out there. In other words, a step-parent or a step-child relationship will only count for immigration purposes if the marriage that created that relationship happened before the child turned 18. That's one very important exception here. Because, importantly, step siblings can generally not simply take over a petition automatically. That's your question. Step siblings can not just take over a petition because the petitioner died automatically. So my best practical advice here, because I don't have more details on the specific situation, is do not assume the case is over after the petitioner dies. Some immigration cases can still continue through humanitarian reinstatement or through other related protections. And until we know your specific situation, it is difficult to know which one applies. And I don't want to spend an hour going into each of those situations. It will bore a lot of people who don't have these scenarios and want to try to get to as many of these questions as possible. So my personal advice is seek out a lawyer. Hopefully it will be me, and we can represent you anywhere you are in America, nationwide. You go to speakwithope.com to book an appointment with me. Or if that's not feasible, seek out an immigration lawyer in your area, and then they can look into the specific situation that you are dealing with and be able to advise you whether that allows you to qualify for that humanitarian exception, the reinstatement exception, or maybe there are other related protections that exist for you. And there are several. Next question. Can I fight my immigration case if I have a 10-year bar without leaving the country? Can I fight my immigration case if I have a 10-year ban without leaving the country? Now, this sounds to me like a kind of self-contradictory question, but I'll explain in a minute. But your question directly, okay, to answer it directly, sometimes yes, but it depends on what caused the 10-year ban in the first place and whether the bar has already been triggered. You can't fight what has not been triggered. That's why I was a little bit confused with the question. Because the 10-year bar usually applies to people who have stayed unlawfully in the U.S. for more than 1 year, left the country, and later became inadmissible for 10 years. Even if you are illegal in America for 20 years, 10-year bar is not activated until you actually leave the country. I hope you understand that. The 10-year ban only applies for those who are illegal in America, left the country, and tried to come back. So in many cases, the 10-year bar is only triggered after you depart the U.S. That's why sometimes lawyers advise you don't go outside the country while you're trying to fix your papers. Because that means some people who are still inside the U.S. may not yet have activated the bar. So you can't be fighting within the country what has not yet been activated. I hope you get that. So some people may still qualify for relief inside the U.S. through, for instance, adjustment, waivers, 601 waiver, asylum, VAWA, cancellation of removal, or other immigration protection. Yeah, so you can fight that, even though you might be facing 10-year ban, which may not have been activated because you have not left the country, but you might be able to adjust your status and fight that in the U.S. through possible adjustment of status if you came in legally and you marry a U.S. citizen or file asylum and all of that stuff. Or you can get a waiver if you otherwise qualify to stay in the country to apply. Asylum, of course, waives all of that. VAWA waives all of that. Violence Against Women petition. Cancellation of removal, which is a relief, waives all of that. Cancellation of removal is where the judge can cancel your deportation based on some equities. You have been here 10 years, you have an American child born here, and you have good character and all that stuff. The judge can cancel that removal and give you a green card, even though you might have been subject to 10-year bar if you left America. But if the bar has already been triggered, in other words, you have left the country, then some people may need what I call the I-601 waiver, consular processing, and other legal remedies. At that point, for you to be able to come back, you can't fight it inside the country because you are not coming into the country anyway. Okay? If you have a 10-year bar against you, nobody's allowing you to come from inside the country to come and fight it. You have to fight it outside. But if you're already inside the country and you are subject to a 10-year bar, that 10 year is not yet activated until you leave the country. And you may have other ways to adjust your status in the US. So you are really not fighting the 10-year ban. You're actually adjusting your status in the US because the law allows you to do that if you have enough grounds to get what I call cancellation of removal that I mentioned before, or you are filing asylum. If you pass and they believe your story, they can give you your green card, even though you have 10-year ban that could work against you if you left the country. You can apply for a waiver of that unlawful presence. It can be 601A if all the only thing against you is unlawful presence, or it can be 601 itself if there are other issues involved like fraud, misrepresentation, and all of that. You definitely can be able to waive that 10-year possible ban if you're here. So here's my own major warning from this question that I just read. Do not leave the US before understanding the consequences of leaving, especially if you have overstayed. Many people accidentally trigger the 10-year bar by departing without legal advice. Maybe they got married to a US citizen, their I-130 has been approved. They know they're going to get a green card, but they tell them go and do consular processing. And without talking to a lawyer, they think they can go to the country and go get it. Forgetting that it does not matter whether you are married to an American citizen. If you have been here illegally for more than a year, in other words, you came illegally, your I-94 has expired. If it's more than a year, if you go outside the country, you cannot come back for 10 years. That is the law. It don't matter whether you are married. It doesn't matter whether you won lottery. It don't matter. If you have been illegal for more than a year, you can't come back for 10 years unless you get a waiver. If you have been illegal, be unlawfully here for less than a year and you go out, then you cannot come back for 3 years. So you need to know the implication. Even if they told you a visa is ready for you, go pick it up at the embassy. It does not mean they're going to give you if a ban is triggered by your leaving. So sometimes it's important to talk to a lawyer, so maybe they can apply for the waiver for you from here while you are still in the country, especially the 601A waiver, where the waiver gets approved first. So you know that when you go out, they're going to let you back in because you already got approval for the waiver of the ban. If you don't do that, then you may face more problem than you're trying to solve. That's why you want to talk to the lawyer before you travel. Let's look at the next question here. What documents do I submit? What documents to submit employment case to NVC on an EB3 skilled worker? Will I need the I-864 affidavit of support? Interesting. What documents to submit for employment case to National Visa Center for an EB3 skilled worker, and do I need an I-94 support? For an EB3 skilled worker, that the case is still with the NVC, that is National Visa Center. The required documents are different from family-based immigration cases. This is very important. Employment-based immigration visa cases like this EB3 generally do not require Form I-64 affidavit of support. The affidavit of support form is mainly required for family-sponsored immigration cases. A big difference. So for this EB3 thing, the usually required documents for the employee will include things like a passport page, a birth certificate, marriage certificate if you are married, police certificates from qualifying countries to show that you have no criminal record, military records if that is applicable to you, divorce certificates or death certificates if you are divorced. Those are the things you generally would need to take for the EB3 NVC interview, because the employer, for you to be eligible to go to NVC for an EB3 skilled worker case, usually your employer will have had an approved I-140. They will have had an approved labor certification, and they will already have filed financial evidence that they are paying you enough money for you to survive in America with the USCIS. Those will already be on your file. Financial evidence of the company being able to pay you well enough to survive in America will be there. So you don't need an affidavit of support, the I-864. So here is my best practical advice here. If the NVC specifically, and they do that often, instructed you to submit by email, follow the exact format they give you. They will give you the format they want you to submit. Attach your PDFs clearly labeled. I always tell people, save your PDF document with the name of the document itself so that it's easy for them to identify it in your email. And include your case number on every document that you submit so that your document doesn't disappear when they print it out or they download it and anybody is looking at it and wondering whose document is this. They can see your case on it. So I will advise, don't submit an I-864 unless the MVC specifically requests for it as a special circumstance, because typically you don't need an affidavit of support for an EB3 skilled worker category. Financial justification always comes from the employer, not you. I hope that helps you. Let's take the next question. When to schedule H4 visa interview for my spouse? Can I schedule it before I get my 797 approval notice? When to schedule H4 visa interview for my spouse? And can I schedule it before I get my I-7 approval notice, right? My approval notice. Listen, the best time to schedule the H4 interview for your spouse is usually after the H1B petition has been approved and your husband or the applicant has received his Form I-797 approval notice. That's the best time to do that. Why? Because the H4 visa depends on the validity of the H1B visa's older status. It's like saying, can I move into an apartment because my husband is renting an apartment when your husband doesn't have the lease agreement in his hands? That is weird. Even if you have the address, that may be uncomfortable. The landlord may not allow you. See, your spouse will usually need a copy of the H1B approval notice. That's the I-797 that you're talking about. A copy of the passport, a copy of the marriage, the visa application confirmation, that is the DS-160, okay, and supporting financial and employment evidence. They need all of that to be able to apply for your own H4. After all, you are a dependent on his own H1. H4 is a dependent on an H1B. So you can't put the cart before the horse, in my own opinion and experience. And yeah, you might ask yourself, can I schedule this before approval, as you seem to be asking me? Technically, some people try, but it's very risky. I've never done it. I've had people try it, but it's risky because it causes delays or denial, or how will I put it? Delays or denial of the H1B will affect the H4 case. So if you schedule it and then the H1B gets a request for evidence, it's not yet decided, and then you go for interview, what are you going to tell them? And in any case, the reason why you don't want to do it before approval is that the embassy may request the final approval notice anyway. They will ask you, where is the approval notice? You are the wife of an H1B person. Your person don't have approval yet, but you want to go for interview to be given H4. How is that going to work now? So my practical advice is that wait until the H1B approval is issued before attending the H4 interview. Otherwise, it might just be an exercise in futility. Most immigration officers will ask you for the underlying approval of your husband's petition before they will decide to give you what is called the H4, which is a dependent visa on an H1B. I hope I didn't confuse you. I hope that answers your question a little. For those of us who are watching us, you are watching the Immigration Survival Show with Dr. Ope Banwo. And we are now, right now, taking as many of the questions as we can take before we close this session today. B1, B2 visa rejected for a minor 11-year-old son under Section 214B. Yes. Does that even make sense? He's only 11 years old. Excuse me. So you're asking me whether immigration makes sense. I don't know. I don't know if they make sense. All I know is that they do the law. They have the yam and they have the what is that called? They have the knife and they have the knife. They can ask whatever they want. But a refusal under Section 214, especially the 214B, what that means is that the consular officer was not fully convinced that the applicant qualified as a temporary visitor with enough strong ties outside the US. You know, for you to get a temporary visitor visa, right? This B1, B2, you have to convince the consular officer that you are qualified with enough strong ties outside the US that will make you want to come back to your country when you have temporarily visited. So they can ask a minor child that too. Even a minor child has to meet that requirement, even though it's following you, even though you even already have your own B1, B2 visa. It don't matter that your son previously held a visa or that your son traveled properly with you before and returned on time. Every new visa application is reviewed independently. I try to tell a lot of people that, even though I don't really represent for B1, B2 in Nigeria or any other country, I just advise. Other than that, every new visa application is renewed independently. They review it independently, not because you got it. That's why you see some people who had multiple entry visas before. They go to try to renew it or to get a new one, and they get denied. And you are surprised, oh, I've gone to America 7 times. I came back all 7 times. What do you mean I've not established ties? If I wanted to stay there, I would have stayed there. That one is story. That one is story. Every new application is reviewed independently. So for this, your 11-year-old child, the officer may have considered maybe depending immigrant petition, a future immigrant intent, family ties to the US. Is the father there? Are other brothers and sisters there? Do you want to use that to jackpot this 11-year-old? Or they may be concerned that the child may not want to come back. Maybe by the time they are looking at it, maybe the way it's looking Americana, that maybe this one is not, I don't know. But there might be many reasons for them to deny him under Section 214B, which is that he has not convinced them that he has enough ties. It's not about age, it's about documented ties. Of course, there's an important point I need to mention. A minor child's ties, the minor child's ties are often evaluated through the parent's situation. I get that because a child can rarely do anything for themselves. So typically, they evaluate your circumstance, the circumstance of that child, through their parent's situation. And they may decide whether the child meets the requirement or not. The good news, though, is that a 214B refusal is not a permanent one. Though you can't appeal it, it's one of the reasons I don't represent people for B1, B2 visa, the visitor visa part, is because there is no formal appeal. You can't appeal it on behalf of your client. If they deny them, it's okay. But you may reapply if circumstances improve, if additional evidence is available, or the prior interview was incomplete. So you could meet with an immigration lawyer. They can look at what happened there, and they may feel that the prior interview was incomplete, or may be able to help you establish that circumstances have improved, or there's additional evidence and all that. Maybe your child just won a scholarship into a school here, or is active in something to do with their school, and they get letters from the principal and all of that to show that the child has a good reason to want to come back here. Then you can reapply. It's not a permanent denial. So when you are doing that, some helpful evidence that you may want to include could be proof of going to school, family residence, parents' employment, business time. In other words, the parents are coming back, more than likely they will determine that the child may come back with them, especially if it's a minor, right? And all of that stuff. So you want to talk to an immigration lawyer to be able to put this together for you. The only important caution I will give you on this one is that do not submit a new application immediately without addressing the concerns that may have caused the denial. I've seen people, they get denied. The next thing they simply go and do is go pick a new day because they consider the thing a lottery. It might be a lottery in the sense that it's just luck sometimes, whether you get this. But I always advise, if you are denied for a specific reason, don't just go and reapply for the visa again without addressing or knowing how you are going to improve on your answer to that original question. I hope that helps. Let's take another one. Okay, this one says, will my citizenship application be affected if I was arrested for credit card fraud? Now we're talking about some of the major issues that we're dealing with here. Will my citizenship application be affected if I was arrested for credit card fraud? Very, very good question, important question for many of us who may have been unfortunate to be involved in any kind of criminal activity. So the direct answer, I like to give direct answer to some of this stuff without missing words for you. Yes, it can affect your citizenship application. But the outcome depends on several important factors, including whether were you arrested only or actually convicted. Was the case dismissed? Was it a misdemeanor or a felony? That makes a very big difference. One can be dismissed. The other one might even cost you your green card, not just citizenship now. Not only would they not give you citizenship, they may come for your green card. So was it just a misdemeanor or a felony? How long ago did it happen? Did the fraud involve more than $10,000? Because if it involved more than $10,000, it takes into a whole new category of aggravated felony and you are so screwed. But if it is less than $10,000, maybe some things can still be done. Did you complete probation, restitution, or other court requirements from your fraud case that you got convicted on? So it's a lot of important factors that will go into this. But definitely, it can affect your citizenship application. Because for U.S. citizenship now, the USCIS, they will clearly or carefully review something called good moral character. Because you can't get citizenship without having good moral character now. It's part of the requirement. It has always been, but they are more focused on it now. In other words, not only do you have to show that you have been a green card holder for 10 years or 5 years, depending on how you got your green card, or even 3 years, depending on how you got it. Part of what you have to show to be a citizen is that you have, quote and unquote, good moral character. And fraud-related offenses are taken very seriously because they are considered crimes involving dishonesty, or what we call moral turpitude. That's the word, technical word they use. I try not to use a lot of technical words on this show, because most of those who are watching are not lawyers, so you don't know what that is. In other words, whether the crime involves dishonesty, what we call moral turpitude. It is important for you to understand that an arrest alone does not automatically deny citizenship, even though these days they can look at that arrest and ask you more questions about it to see whether the whole matter involves dishonesty or lack of good moral character, whether you are convicted or not. You see now? Before, people used to think that, well, I was arrested and the charges were dismissed, so it doesn't matter. No, not anymore. Under the rule, they can actually look at the underlying reason why you are arrested. And based on what you say, if what you did is somebody that has lack good moral character, the fact that you are not convicted does not mean they can't use it against you. They don't have to convict you before that is used against you. You know, USCIS requires applicants to disclose all arrests, even if the case was dismissed or expunged. Before, we used to use expungement, where you go back to the original court and get them to expunge the record, maybe because it has been a long time and all that. They are saying even if you expunge the record now, it does not change the fact that your character was a bad person. So they ask you to disclose everything. So failing to disclose it can create bigger immigration problem than the arrest itself. I've had people who have these fraud cases or maybe fraud arrests, and they say because they were not convicted or because it's a long time ago, they don't disclose it. That lack of disclosure may actually cost you a lot more than the offense itself. I've had a client who had a criminal record more than 30 years ago who was asking me whether that will matter. I'm like, no, you have to disclose it. Let's go get the disposition record. Normally, they shouldn't use a 30-year-old conviction against you, especially if the money involved is not up to $10,000 and the circumstances is not as serious as it is. Maybe it's a simple shoplifting and all of that stuff. You still have to disclose it. Now, if you don't disclose it, that is what can cost you the citizenship more than disclosing it, and then they can waive it, or you can file a waiver, the I-601 waiver, to waive that. They allow you to do that. Okay? So if there was a conviction, if your fraud involved a fraud above $10,000 because you didn't state, it may be treated as what is called an aggravated felony. Even if it was not treated as a felony in the court where you are convicted, if the fraud involved more than $10,000, they would treat it as what is called, quote and unquote, aggravated felony, which can permanently block citizenship and even create a deportation case against you for your green card. I've had clients who had that. One of them who was involved in a fraud case, in a fraud matter that was $23,000 involved. He wasn't really convicted. They ended up dismissing the charge, but he had a statement that actually admitted that he did it. But somehow, on a technicality, they were able to get him off. I told him that even though you are not convicted, you admitted in writing that you are involved in a fraud that is $23,000. The immigration will call that an aggravated felony for you. Or at worst, a crime involving moral turpitude, and deny you. But if you are convicted of it, like your colleague, there are two of them, who was convicted, the money involved was more than $10,000. I said, not only can they deny you based on the fact that that's an aggravated felony, because you've been convicted of something more than $10,000, they can then turn around and try to deport you and take away your green card. So I advise them, don't even file for citizenship right now. If you have been convicted of a crime of a fraud that is more than $10,000, it don't matter if it is 50 years ago. Don't even try to get citizenship now. Hold your green card. Be renewing your green card like a gentleman and wait for the immigration climate to change. Because if you go in there, not only may you not come out with a citizenship, you may come out losing the green card that you already have, that they are renewing for you every year. Because this person has renewed their green card 3 or 4 times, even with the conviction of a fraud of more than $10,000. But the minute you decide that you want to become a citizen, they're going to take your fingerprint. When those things come up, they're going to then use it not only to deny you, but to also try to take away your green card. So my practical advice to you, sir, for this question is, before filing your form N400, which is your citizenship form, get certified court records. Confirm the disposition of the case. Look at the actual letter of the law that they use in convicting you. The actual letter of this provision of the law is what counts. And of course, you must speak. It's not maybe. You must speak with an immigration attorney before applying for anything. If you have a fraud case, I'm not joking now, you need to look for a lawyer to help you look at it. Because what you don't think is serious can be the most serious when you get in there. Some people are still approved after older or less serious offenses, especially when many years have passed and they have maintained a clean record for a long time, maybe they maintain a clean record for 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, they may still be approved. But I have to be honest with you, fraud-related cases require extra caution. It's not something you want to do a do-it-yourself thing for. All right, let's go to the next question. I will take a couple more before we call it a day. We are already so far gone. Here's a question. If my fiance's dad put in papers for him and he got accepted, if I get married to him, can he get them faster? Interesting. If my fiance's dad put in papers for him and he got accepted, I'm assuming that means that he got approved. If I get married to him, that is, you're getting married to your fiancé now, can he get his papers faster? Well, the answer depends on what stage of the immigration process your fiancé is currently and what category his father filed under. So these are all nuanced. There are different categories he could have filed under. So your answer will depend on where is your fiancé in the process of immigration and what category is he under. If your fiancé already has a green card, once you get legally married, you may become eligible for immigration benefits through him. But processing time will depend on whether he's a green card holder or already a US citizen. There is different waiting times. But here's the difference. If he's a green card holder, you will usually fall under the what they call the F2A category, spouse of lawful permanent resident, that's F2A. And for this category, there's a normal waiting period because visas are limited. There's a national visa bulletin that changes every month that tells you what the waiting period is, depending on the country you come from. The waiting period for India is different from Mexico, and then there's what they call the rest of the world. So the waiting periods are different. So if it's a green card holder, you will fall under the F2A category, that is spouse of a lawful permanent resident. And then you have to check your waiting period under the visa bulletin. Now, if he becomes a US citizen, that's a whole different ballgame now, because a spouse of a US citizen becomes an immediate relative, quote and unquote, which is generally much faster to get green card because there is no annual visa quota limit. They are not in the waiting period category. They get the green card faster. So if your fiancé becomes a US citizen and then you marry him, then of course you become an immediate relative. Now this is important. If his father petitioned for him in a category that requires him to remain unmarried, because there's a category for unmarried children of US citizens. If the father petitioned for him under that category, then marriage to you can sometimes create serious problems. Because then he will lose that category once he gets married to you. For example, if someone petitioned as an unmarried son and daughter and then gets married before he receives his green card, the petition category will change or become invalid. So it's not just as simple as, oh, his father filed paper for him and it's approved. So if I marry him, I will get papers. It depends on the category he's in. If it's in the unmarried son and daughter category, marriage actually not just makes it impossible for you, he actually destroys his own papers. So my best practical advice is don't make marriage decisions, especially if you're expecting an immigration benefit, until an immigration attorney has reviewed the exact petition category and the priority date. Those two things go together, the priority date and the category. Marriage sometimes will change it, not sometimes, even all the time, because unmarried children of US citizens has a different category from married children of US citizens, which is different from married children of permanent resident, which changes the whole thing entirely. So one marriage decision can completely change the speed or even destroy the eligibility of an immigration case. So this is not something you just think off your head and say, because my fiancé, I want to go marry, and you may end up destroying even his own immigration papers, not just your own. I hope we get that. We take a break, and then when we come back, we take a couple more questions, and then we call it a day. All right. Let me bring my team up, and let them have a little bit discussion here. What do you guys think so far? Are you enjoying the show? What is your take? What are you seeing out there? Grace, are you having fun tonight? I know that you are joining us from a place you should be asleep now, right? When we come back, we'll put the show to rest and enjoy a couple of these videos that are also educative to teach you more about your immigration status. All right, let's see.
They fear him. Clients trust him. The Immigration Rottweiler.
Let me warn you about one letter from immigration that has destroyed thousands of immigration cases in America. It is called an RFE, a request for evidence. When immigration sends you an RFE, it means immigration officers believe something important is missing from your case. Maybe documents are incomplete, maybe your evidence is weak, maybe they suspect something is wrong, and these days, maybe they just want you to explain some more. And here's the danger. If you respond incorrectly or miss the deadline, your case can be denied immediately. No second chances. At BANWO Law, we see this problem all the time. People file immigration cases themselves, or they rely on bad advice from people who don't even have papers. Then they panic when an RFE arrives. But the truth is, an RFE can often be fixed if you respond the right way with the right immigration lawyer. So if immigration has sent you an RFE today, do not guess. Call BANWO Law today at 888-215-5054 or visit banwolaw.net to book an appointment now. We represent clients nationwide. Let an experienced attorney review your case before a small mistake becomes a permanent immigration disaster. Call us now. The Immigrant Survival Show for millions of immigrants. America is not just a country. It is a dream of freedom, opportunity, and a better life. But behind the dream lies a system filled with confusion, fear, and life-changing consequences. One mistake can destroy everything, but the right knowledge can change everything, helping immigrants achieve the American dream without the nightmares. If you are an immigrant in America or you are abroad trying to come to America, you cannot afford to miss this show. Learn how to avoid mistakes that can destroy your case. Discover hidden pathways to adjust and protect your status. Stay ahead of immigration law change and how to prevent your American dream from becoming an American nightmare. Starting now. The Immigrant Survival Show. This is where knowledge becomes power. I knew I could apply for asylum, but everyone around me kept saying the same thing. Don't show up. If you go there, they will deport you. This was 1995. There was no internet, no easy way to research the law for myself. So like many immigrants today, though they have internet, I was forced to rely on rumors, fear, and bad advice. For months, I lived in hiding. I had law degrees, 3 of them, years of professional experience, and a very strong record of political activism. Yet, there I was in America, afraid to step outside, unable to work legally, wondering if I had made the worst mistake of my life. At some point, I seriously considered going back to Nigeria and simply taking my chances with the military government that had been hunting me. Then one morning I woke up and asked myself a very simple question. Ope, are you going to live the rest of your life in fear? There and then, I decided that whatever will happen, I will face it. So I went to the immigration office in downtown New York and asked for the asylum application. 2 weeks later, I received a letter summoning me for an immigration interview. Pandemonium broke out. Everyone around me told me not to go. Yes, everybody was afraid for me. They begged me not to go. They said it was a trap. But I'd made up my mind. I'd made my decision. So I showed up. I told my story. I showed the asylum officer the newspaper articles documenting my persecution and the wanted notices that soldiers had posted on my door back home that my wife had graciously sent to me by courier before the interview. A few weeks later, after that interview, I received a letter in the mail. My asylum had been granted. Overnight, my life changed from fear to hope. Suddenly, the same people who had warned me not to go were now asking me to help them fill out their immigration papers. That was an interesting quote from my personal testimonial about how I came into America. You can see that. Check out my YouTube channel, which is the BANWO LAW, youtube.com/ what do they call that sign? At BANWO LAW. We have several videos there, interesting videos helping you with immigration. Many are very short videos, 1 minute video, 2 videos, addressing different areas of survival in America. I think you're going to find it very, very interesting on our YouTube channel, BANWO LAW YouTube channel. I fight for immigration people, because I am part of you. I have been there. I have felt lost and overcame, and I've helped thousands and thousands ever since I got my license from the New York Bar in 1997, and I opened a practice in Nebraska. And now I will have an office opening up in Dallas, Texas, that I'm so excited about. And the whole of June, we are open to celebrating immigrants coming to our offices. If you happen to be in the Dallas metropolis, is at 420 East Lamar Boulevard, 76011. Any navigator will get you there. Come visit us. Come, even if you don't have an immigration case, come over there, come encourage us. And for those who would like to talk to us, I would like to book appointment with us. We have a special going on right now. When you book a call with us in the whole month of June, I'm going to be giving you 2 of my new books that I just published, Immigrant Survival in America, that covers every area of survival for you as an immigrant. I'm going to be giving you a copy of that for free. And then the second one, every question every immigrant wants to know about surviving in America. That's also just came out on Barnes & Noble, Amazon, and all that. We're going to be giving you a free copy of that if you book a call with us during our introduction month. We call it the month that we start in Dallas Metropolis, Arlington specifically. And hopefully, we'll also be opening the Houston branch of our practice very soon. There's so many people who are waiting for us, who are looking for solution in Houston. We have several clients from there right now that we feel that maybe we need to have a presence physically there after operating for 29 years in the Nebraska office and having helped thousands and thousands of people get their papers in America. I am so excited that now we have a Dallas office, a New York office, and we're going to be opening the Houston office very soon. This has been an interesting time, interesting episode of Immigration Survival show with Ope Banwo and his team. I want to thank my team again for a great show tonight. Stephen Oyeleye, thank you so much. He's one of the people doing the videos that you have been watching. He's our video expert, paralegal. Grace has been our customer service specialist and paralegal who's been helping a lot of immigrants find their way to me. And of course, Mr. Samuel Lokwan is our senior paralegal who helps me actually research and document a lot of these cases. So I want to appreciate all three of you for the work you are doing on this show in helping immigrants from all over the world to be able to realize the American dream without the nightmare. And we are done for tonight. Again, we will be here again tomorrow just for Q&A over the next 7 days, Monday to Saturday to Sunday next week. We'll be here every day just to take questions. I call it the Immigration Survival Marathon for the daily show. Then after next week, we're going to devolve into once a week. And we'll let you know the day of the week we're going to be doing that, where we come out live, address one immigration issue or the other, and take your questions. And if you are watching this or you are watching a rerun of this that we're going to do later tonight, you want to post your questions. We take them very seriously. My paralegals actually scour those questions. They get them from me. And I make sure at one point or the other, I provide you the answer. If not directly to you on the thread where you made the comment, but certainly we'll address it in one of our shows. Because we want to help you survive or achieve your American dream without the nightmare. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you on the next edition of Immigration Survival Show with Immigrant Survival Show with Ope Banwo and Co. And my name is Ope Banwo, and they call me the Immigration Rottweiler. I will see you on the next show. My name is Ope Banwo, and they call me the Immigration Rottweiler. Not because I bark, not because I make noise, but because I don't let go. When your case gets tough, when the system pushes back, when others start telling you there is nothing we can do, that's when you call me. Because once I lock into your case, I don't stop, I don't quit, and I don't back down until we get results. So go book a consultation on speakwithope.com now, and let's activate the Rottweiler mode on your case before the immigration knocks on your door.